Loman gets it out, only as far as Clark, who was fantastic last week, of course. Handball out to Martin. Martin swings for goal. Is it a quick reply? Geez, he's in form at the moment, this man. 2 last week. Best on ground in the Dreamtime game, and he gets the first goal for the Bombers.
And as we expected coming in, Jack, we thought that maybe there'd be some experience of certainly playmakers starting at half-back with that decimated Essendon defence. That has happened. So Nick Martin starts at half-back, but now that last centre bounce, he swapped with Zach Merritt. Zach Merritt goes back to half-back. Nick Martin goes in around the ball and obviously has a great effect.
Yeah, great IQ to leave the stoppage there and actually head boundary side and head forward. There it's where he found that cute little handball that popped over the top one, the one-on-one there. The work rate on Nick Martin is the thing that makes him an excellent player. A mid-season pickup, an absolute gem in the mid-season, which we've just had. But he works up the half-back, he can play multiple positions, and he's in incredible form. Off the back of the Yoyukin last week, and look at that. Who's having the impact forward? Nick Martin, #1.
Quick response, Cameron. And Martin with the response. Nice start as the rains just eased off. Martin, another possession. Out wide to Durham. Picks it up in front of McCluggage. Goes back to Roberts. Electrician transition by hand. And it's aggressive ball into the middle. Ashcroft will chase it down with Goldstein. Goldstein does well. Stands up in the contest now. Screws out the back lines. They've got the numbers through Wilmot. Bailey has to wait for it. Slick hands over to Zorko. They love the ball in his hands. He immediately dishes to the outside.
Cameron goes wide, very wide. Rayner and Redmond out there and out of bounds on the full. Jackie Rewalt.
You can see the hesitancy from Brisbane wanting to kick it down the line. Tonight they do have the aerial advantage, a lot taller than the Essendon defenders, so maybe that's something they can start to explore a little bit more.
So McGrath off half-back, looking for 2-metre Peter. So that's a terrific intercept marked by Andrews.
Harris will play at half-back, so in this case Peter Wright's actually playing as the higher forward, Nate Caddy back and Jack Payne.
There's your man Payne.
Really good last few weeks.
Short to Fletcher. It's cool to play on quickly. Does so. Out to Bailey. I think one of the greatest grand final goals a couple of years ago. Hipwood was in a losing side. Hipwood's wobbly one towards Gardner. Had to control it off the floor. Got up to Fort. Quick hands. Archie. Great gather with the one hand. Fletcher up the ground. Steps for goal and kicks it. Jasper Fletcher.
Continuing on his fantastic season. Gone back to half-back. Kenny Coleman's absence. Started the year in the wing, but he's having a fantastic year and he's just gone from strength to strength since he made his debut a couple of seasons ago. Just fires up the play nicely. Do you think he's the guy that started that with the kick-off half-back, Jack?
The kick out and then the kick in, so they could have come through the middle originally. They went out, shifted that Essendon defence, and from there, this is where Brisbane do their work. What a great kick inside from Eric Hipwood there, but just get it into your one-on-ones. Crafty work here from Darcy Ford. Found the handball, and then your half-back wingers can get involved in that run. If you do move it by angles, which is what Brisbane do, they haven't gone straight there. They've used the angles. It allows the players behind the ball to catch up and then get involved. And it's resulted in a goal there to young Fletcher.
That's a blueprint, isn't it? 9-1 uncontested mark so far. Brisbane cut you to ribbons if you let them get their uncontested mark game started.
Some nimble work by Darcy Fort up forward. Now he's back in the middle. The premiership ruckman. Straight off the ground. Low ball, Dunkley. It's a dangerous ball. Rayner, brilliant pickup. Rayner to finish. Spectacular effort. Brisbane are in a hurry tonight at the Gabba.
They play more full forward, Cam Rayner. They're the slowest start of the season. He was dynamic last year in All-Australian form, but just going back more as a permanent full forward. Obviously, the big question marks throughout the year for Brisbane's forward line will be how do you cover Joe Danaher, Joe?
Yeah, and I think that maybe that exploring playing Rayner forward is a little bit more forward, sorry, or back in that sort of traditional full forward spot is not a bad idea in terms of Joe Danaher. I still want to see him playing on ball. So whether it's 50-50 for me, I still think he's got that bull mentality because these sort of games you want to roll him through, get him into form, can do that in the midfield and also forward of the ball there. He's so damaging, so clean at ground level. See there on a slippery night tonight, getting it forward from Dunkley. Just forward football will win early games like this.
DJ's very prevalent early. He's got a busy night ahead.
1,500 for the Ronald McDonald House early as well.
Yep.
Ackroyd crew be loving it too. Gee, 2 kicks and a goal. It's pretty simple stuff, isn't it? Through the middle. Fletcher, Bailey.
This guy's had a great season too. 19 goals already.
He's so crafty across half 40. You just got to get right on with this.
So going to prop it up the top of the square. Dursma. So they're going to do that a fair bit, you'd think, testing this back line that's lost so many tools. Dursma's kick outside defensive 50 narrowly, and it's cut off by Berry, who's been busy early too. So Berry sends it back. It was touched off the boot. Bailey goes scampering after it. Lohman got boot to ball, top of the square. It's going to work. It's going to work. It was Will Ashcroft with the hurried kick to Archie, and Archie can go back from 30 metres out.
This is Forward Craft 101, Brownie. You taught from a youngster to play in front in case the quick kick comes forward. Ashcroft just got a little quick dinky kick round the corner. Archie was perfect. He just sort of backed into Archie Robertson and used his backside to protect the spot and take the mark. It's Forward Craft 101.
So Archie, who's also in outstanding kicking form from last week, gets one on the board. 18 for the year, 4 last week.
He's sensational, wasn't he, last week? Probably best on ground against the Hawks, MCG. Had a great grand final day. It's had a great, really, back into last year and the final series started this year. It's really important. So he's on the air rules, but he's a tough matchup. He can also play as a defensive forward role as well. So a lot falls on his shoulders with the aerial contest, along with Cam Rayner, as those medium type forwards. In that absence of Joe Dano, as we've spoken about, obviously he was there as well, and Logan Morris. But he's a really smart player, smart footballer, and a real team footballer.
Yeah, you can see a little step there from Ashcroft as well to come back to the form of the ball. Obviously a bit of a missed kick inside 50, and as you mentioned, Archie just playing in front. Good turnover as well from Brisbane, defensively on and offensively too.
Early concerns for the Bombers. They've already given up 4 majors right. Wanders in the middle against Hipwood. No one really progresses the football. Now centre field. Caldwell spreads it wide and into the path of Day Wicks. And Harris is happy to take it across the line.
Sorry, Will Setterfield. Looks like he's just following around Will Ashcroft. So the 2 Wills going at each other. So obviously he's only young in his career, but he has won a Norm Smith medal.
Wilmot standing off Hobbs at the back of the contest, right to the front of the contest by hand. High ball from Perkins, rare inside 50, just. And again, fist across the line by Answorth, who did a fantastic job on Nick Watson last week.
It's a good watch for Eric Hipwood. Hasn't played a lot of ruck previously to this, but has obviously had to start to play a little bit more with Joe Danaher not being around. Chance to run some good minutes through Eric. The lines of flex between this and playing 2 rucks.
So, right, just nudged out of it narrowly. With a free kick going the way of Ashcroft. Will Ashcroft goes out wide, Rayner. So Rayner, plenty of room to move, plenty of time to think about it. Logan Morris. So Morris, only his 30th game, is a real live wire, kept it really low. Bailey.
Do you think Zach Bailey would be in range here? One of the most crafty players in the AFL. High football IQ with what he does with the ball. Doesn't need to get a lot to have a lot of score involvements. He's a critical piece to the Brisbane Lions, looking at going back to back.
So he's kicked 18-12 this season, so he's kicked the one last week. Early set shot. Still good kicking conditions despite a little bit of light rain around, and kept it left.
So if you're Essendon, you want to probably just hold on to the ball for a little bit here, maybe just chip around, get their hands on it.
Plus 20 in disposals already, Brisbane. Dursma out towards the wing. Caddy flies. Can't miss him with that shock of blonde hair. Answorth. Clever to Lockie Neal. They come through the middle again. Gee, that's a perfect kick. Berry just plays on. Hits 50. This would be a goal and a half. Berry! Not quite. They are peppering.
Yeah, it's been a problem. It's been a problem for Essendon now to do 50. So last in the competition for points from that area of the ground. So obviously Brisbane are clamping down on that part of their game.
Merritt 37 touches last week, long towards Dersma and also Levi Ashcroft. Levi Ashcroft, good little gather under pressure. Flicked it back. Ainsworth, Levi Ashcroft. Payne dances around Caddy and coughs it up. Dersma, Hobbs, chance for the Bombers. Gresham presses on quickly towards the top of the square. Kako. That's better.
Yeah, credit to Nate Caddy there. He was the one that just held on to the little tackle on Jack Payne, and that's where the turnover was created. As soon as the turnover happened, Caddy got on his back, so Harris Andrews, caught in two minds, came up, and the space that was created by Harris moving was filled by Isaac Kako.
He's excited us since the practice match at the start of the year for the Bombers. He's going to miss that, of course. It was the 2024 AFL Draft. Bombers Next Generation selection number 13. And he's impressed us early this season.
We've got Shorts of Debate, who's covering fast areas they gather early.
You can see them looking through the corridor already here. Take the Bombers wide and then look for the hole through the middle.
Switches on Berry to Payne. Levi Ashcroft wide. He elects to go a touch longer than that. To a good target, and Andrews is just so good in the air.
Crafty, very crafty.
And long too, that's the other thing.
Casual character with ball in hand. Not too casual this time. Really well done by Caddy, but he had the release in Ashcroft, who was aware enough to work his way up to Ainsworth through centre wing.
Yeah, there's nobody tours down the line, so Darcy Ford coming along. That's why they've been reluctant to drive along.
Berry was on in the middle of the ground, as Jack pointed out, but he elected to go down the line. Ford brings it to ground. Loman overruns it. Now on hands and knees, trying to scoop it out. Durham arrives on the scene to clog things up.
A few positive signs here for Essendon just defensively. So they want to shut down stoppage, maybe take the back position from their Brisbane opponents, keep it in tight.
Durham dropped it in the tackle. Will Ashcroft eventually got it out. Neal with some elite stepping. The kick was excellent to McCluggage. He's further afield. Ignores Morris. Kicks towards the Gardner direction. Neal backs up. McGrath. Handball to a contest. Bombers try and hack it out. It's not good enough. McCluggage towards Morris, who clocks it. Good work with the more experienced Levert out his shoulders.
Well, they've been good early, Brisbane, this first quarter, locking the ball in their front half. So it's a 7-forward half intercept. So able to go straight back at the Bombers' defence, put them under pressure. There's good mark there by Logan Morris, who continues to improve in his second year.
I bumped into him in the car park on the way in, Logan Morris, and I thought he was a mid-sized forward and he was towering over me. So maybe he's the man. Maybe he's the man to fill Joe Danaher's shoes.
Played a premiership as a 19-year-old in his 19th game. What a start to a career from 47. That's not so good.
Was that your second arrival at the game, Brown?
What are you suggesting, Mark?
Maybe you forgot your shoes, went back to the hotel and arrived again, didn't you?
Maybe that's right. I think Lockie Neal's been described as the best pick-up off the ground, the clean player off the ground here. That was so clean and hand of foot. That's why he's a Brownlow medalist.
Berry's down after that marking contest. The trainers will be out to him as Essendon get it to centre wing on the outer side. Former Saint Gresham splits it further wide. It's okay, Berry. Hobbs, kick and a half from home. Last three have come the way of the Lions. High entry. Payne stands up, just tumbles at the last moment, couldn't complete the mark. Ainsworth, screw kick out defence, Rangers brilliantly, just hung in the air momentarily over Hobbs.
Yeah, it's a different tonight. That's a challenge for Essendon. Their aerial presence, some injuries to big bugs. 5 contested marks to the Lions, zip to the Bombers.
So Loman called to play on through the middle. They found Wilmot. Wilmot dances around. Have a look at the big sticks. That's better. Straight through the middle. And what about the celebration from Darcy Wilmot? He thought, I've only kicked one this year. I'm in space. Why not?
How good is he? Excitement machine hasn't missed a game since he made his debut, Jack, in that final a couple of years ago. Had a win against Melbourne, but he's a dynamic player. He gives the boys a lift, as does Kai Loman. Just starting to hit his stripes. Great movement with the ball across that centre square.
I love that he looked as well to go short. There was a lead on, no, too risky. Another lead, too risky. And then as soon as that gets opened up, comes through 50, then decides that he's the one to take the moment there. And you're right, I think Brandon, that final might have been against us actually here at the Gabba when he debuted and came in. But he's a fantastic halfback. They have got weapons off halfback that I think every other side would desire with the way they use the ball. Holding your width in the middle of the ground, waiting for it to shift back inside, and that clear lane there. So Essendon folding all the way over to where the ball is and giving the Lions exactly what they want through the middle of the ground.
5 goals, 4 have come from intercepts, so massive concerns now for the Bombers.
Spot on, Jack. It was elimination final against Richmond in 2022. 11 disposals and kicked the goal and did celebrate.
Yeah, the post went high enough that night.
That's right.
His first 3 games were finals. Extraordinary, really, for Darcy Wilmot.
That or Tom Lynch's acting wasn't good enough that night, I should say.
No, he didn't sell it well enough, Tommy.
Clark, through a bit of traffic. Goldstein falls with ball in hand.
So 30 possessions more Brisbane at the moment against Essendon.
Caldwell wanders through the stoppage. To Day Wick supplies a tackle.
Well, the clearance has been quite even, actually. Look at him. So, 8-6, the territory's a real problem. 14-4, the favourite Lions at the moment. They can really, when they put teams under pressure, they can lock that ball in the front half. Makes it very difficult to bring it out, especially an inexperienced lineup for the Bombers.
Goldstein at Fort. Goldstein wins it. Clever tap. Over to Day Wicks. Now towards Clark. He's the debutant. Zach Johnson. Centre field. And rides him into the ground and throws him to the ground after the umpire blew the whistle.
And no need for that from Carlo. So, free kick earned. Laverty. That young Angus Clark just shaping up to Charlie Cameron there. Exuberance of youth, full of confidence. Pryor. Goes for a scamper. Pryor to Caddy, who's got 2 to beat. And the boundary line to beat as well.
That was a better lead there from Nate Caddy. He was sitting behind Harris Andrews, trying to play in the blind spot a little bit, and then came up late. Thought potentially could have got a free kick there. Held a couple of times by Harris Andrews inside 50, not being able to get a run and jump at the ball. Just continue to get behind him, always working to get in Harris's blind spot.
26-point lead to the Lions. Durham runs into trouble. Ashcroft squeezes out of the pack down towards Pryor, a former line himself. Good hands from the skipper, Merritt. Moved in again by hand. They give up the touch to Redmond. Takes a bit off the kick. He's clever to Martin. The umpire did well to stop play just as Martin was trying to get rid of it, seeing the injury to Durham, who's limping on an ankle.
Is that help or hurt the Bombers, though? Because now Brisbane have got all their numbers back. We're going into even numbers before. For a player with an ankle injury, the ball's going to go over his head. It's an interesting one, isn't it?
Well, I think it's a good call by the umpire. When you see a player on the ground, they're not to know exactly what the injury is. Could be a head injury, could be an ankle injury, could be a lower leg.
Blood for his ankle straight away.
Yeah, I don't mind slowing the play down here. Make the right decision. The health and safety of the players is paramount.
Martin to a crowded forward line. There's about 36 players in attack 50 for the Bombers, and of course, the one that ends up with the football is Harris Andrews.
I'm not sure about that, Howie. We'll talk about that during the week.
Not a great sign for Essendon fans. Of course, the injury list is quite lengthy. Cole Langford with a quad, Zach Reed hamstring, Mackay with a foot, Draper, Bryan, Ridley, Jones, all names that are on the injury list for the Bombers.
This is where Essendon are going to be so diligent that they stay close enough to their opponent to stop the little kicks, prevent Brisbane coming through the middle of the ground or going around them.
Levi Ashcroft, kick outside 50 to Leicester. Rayner, Will Ashcroft, Leicester. Kick forward towards Archie, through the fingertips of Redmond and locked up.
See that mark going build up against 29 uncontested marks for the Lions. Anytime they get over 100, Jack, they win.
Yeah, it's 100% of the time. Chris Fagan's team.
Perkins to Hobbs, tries to spot something that gives it straight to Ashcroft. In the blue boots tonight is Levi. Press again, Brisbane. Kick the last 4 goals as he drives it deep into the pocket. To the big boys, they fly. It was Morris that hit the pack hard. Screwing ball back to a dangerous area, but Essendon have got the numbers in the air. And Clark takes a strong defensive mark right on the line of defence.
Yeah, that's what wingers have to do. We saw the goals last week. We also got to get back and help out in the air.
Clark's long kick outside defensive 50. Cut off. Now, play on is the call. Wilmot, previous goal kicker. Back towards full forward. Archie wrestled his way to the back. Redmond, Martin saw a man quickly and found him in Hobbs.
Just can't go forward too fast here, Essendon, because the lines are set up so well behind the ball.
Centre field, receiving it from Redmond. Centre field's kick. Working to the front, Andrews away from Caddy. Wilmot pressured by Kako. Good little battle here. Wilmot picked it up cleanly. It was good work. Ford is going to head back in the Zorko direction. Leicester. And they leave defensive 50 emphatically in the end. Heading out of the Morris direction. Couldn't quite drag it down. He's got a free kick for his trouble. Just a little bit overzealous, the young man.
It was a good effort, though, wasn't it?
Yeah, I love that going back to the fly.
Dunkley tries to pat it to himself, but McGrath was there for company. Johnson on debut, picked it up, coughed it up. Cameron, Rayner spins around in the congestion, wobbly one. Lions have the numbers. Archie at the back from 35. Over the top to Loman. Can he get his boot on it? Of course he can, off the deck. Storming through.
Oh, no, he was never going to get this. He needed a goal for the season. He didn't get off the mark, Matty. It's like he saw that and he just bounced up nicely. A little bit awkward though, but he gets on the ball and that's all you want as a forward. Jack, after a fantastic season last year, he's had injuries, interrupted start of the year. Good effort in the end, so he's away.
Yeah, it was a very good little handball here from Archie. Just put enough on it that it got over the top and then run on. Brandy, run me through this. Now, I'm not from Queensland. I have no idea what these celebrations are about. There's about 8 different celebrations there. Is that something to do up here?
What's going on, mate?
What's going on?
I was talking to the kids, it's something on TikTok.
But it's been a domination from Brisbane. Just their ability to go from one end to the other, and it's been through different methods. There's a moment Mason Redmond would like that, but they've been able to go through contests. They've also been able to go around, and then they've been able to bring it through the middle as well.
From turnover, 5 goals from Lions.
Getting knocked around early here. And the Gabba, Essendon under all sorts of pressure. Kako had a rare shot towards goal, wasn't able to convert. He'll get another chance here. Kako, high ball, wide ball, into the crowd ball.
And maybe it is someone like Isaac Kako in the middle of the ground. He plays a lot of permanent forward. Just get a bit of zip around the ball, give us something different. These are the games that you can try different things to try and ignite your group.
Leicester been at the club longer than any of his teammates. Just the hands by Hipwood. Now to Cameron. Gardner marks strongly. Darcy Gardner on the outer wing. With under a minute on the clock. A dominant start by his team. Here comes Hipwood from behind. He was just eased underneath the football. Bailey. The Merritt sees it. Out of trouble. So we're on
Injury watch with Sam Durham. Elijah Sartis for Essendon is the sub for the match for the Bombers. Devin Robertson for the Lions. Subs on that side.
And Kai Lohman has limped from the ground with it looked like a right ankle complaint. Just turned around and just jogged straight off the ground.
It's been a problem during the year for him, hasn't she?
3 or 4 times, I think.
So Goldstein wins it down. Stacks on the mill again. Forward line for the Lions. And another stoppage. Here's Kyle Lohman. Snatched out initially and then goes down awkwardly. Redmond just tries to nudge it forward by hand. Doesn't really progressed it any further, and a throw in.
And it looks like Sam Durham's getting his ankle re-strapped. He's about to enter the fray. So you'd imagine we'd leave it till the second quarter now.
Ashley Lynch on the boundary. So narrowly one down towards Dunkley. Bobbles out. Leicester just throws it on the boot. Wobbly one, but that'll do to the top of the square late in the piece. Laverty's going to diffuse the situation. As the clock ticks for quarter time, it's going to be in his hands when the siren sounds. Loman, Jasper Fletcher, Kalamachi, Cam Rayner and Darcy Wilmot, the goal kickers for the Lions. It was the start they were wanting at home. They lead by 32 points. Big one coming up in Melbourne. Friday night football, the Hawks and Collingwood. 1v6. That's coming up on Friday night footy on Fox. Can't wait for it.
All right, folks, welcome in. It's Thursday night football. Of course, the Brisbane Lions are taking on the might of the Bombers up there at the Gabba. And I'll tell you what, this could be a blowout game as we're watching, listening to right at the moment. Before I go any further, I want to shout out Taddy. How you going, Taddy? Juliana, welcome in. Of course, pass away. Tine, the manager's in the house. Ryan Avery, Rogue One. Hey, Ryan, thanks for the super chat, bro. Appreciate that. Too kind. Dom, how you going? He's a Carlton supporter. Ella Rose, hey, how you going? Welcome back. Good to see you back. I tell you what, Brisbane look like they've got this, looks like they're in cruise mode. Just before we go any further, I didn't get around to look at the ins and outs. Of course, the Brisbane lineup, unchanged. The sub is Devin Robinson. And of course, for the Bombers, a few changes there. Elijah Zatzis, Zach Johnson, Archer Day, Wicks come into the side. Ben Mackay, Zach Reed, Kyle Langford go out. Zach Johnson is the new player. Elijah Tatis is the sub. And of course, some milestone games there. Zach Johnson, his debut game, and Jackson Pryor, game 50. There is your squad for both teams. Let's just jump across, have a look at the goal scorers. I tell you what, I think some of these goal scorers might have a field day. I'm expecting Charlie to kick a few today, although only single goal scorers out on the ground so far. Of course, the lone goal scorer for the Bombers is Nick Martin with his single. And of course, for Brisbane, they're sharing it around quite well. Darcy Wilmot, Cam Rayner, Kai Lohman, Jasper Fletcher, Charlie Cameron and Kalamachi are the goal scorers there for the Brisbane Lions. Looking at the disposal magnets out on the ground, Jared Berry there for the Brisbane Lions leads the way on 8 with 5 kicks, 3 handballs, 4 marks and a tackle. He's kicked 1 behind. The next best is Mason Redmond and Nick Martin there for the Bombers on 7. Kalamachi on 7. Here we go as we roll on down. Look, maybe tonight there won't be a massive disposal getter out on the ground for Brisbane because they're just sharing the ball really well. Cam Rayner on to 6. Hugh McCluggage, don't forget your luggage, he's up to 6. Josh Dunkley on 6. A lot of players on 6. No one in double figures as yet. Jai Corbell on 6 for the Bombers. And as we just keep rolling down, Levi Ashcroft, 5 touches, 3 kicks, 2 handballs, and 2 marks. Also, Zachy Merritt, just with the 4 touches. Isaac Kako, tell you what, he needs to be influential there for the Bombers this evening. Just the 4 touches, 3 kicks, 1 behind. You probably should have got that. He had a pretty set shot on goal, just a snap around the corner, but could not deliver the goods. Dane Zorko, there we go, a little bit of a quiet quarter for him, just the 3 touches, 3 kicks. Although the ball Down the forward line a lot more often for the Brisbane Lions. All right, there is your team stats. Hey, thanks everyone for coming on in. We're only about just under 2 minutes away from the bounce of the ball for the second quarter here up at the Gabba, whereas the Brisbane Lions leading by 32 points. I hope Essendon, I hope Scott, the coach there, said a few words and, said, come on, boys, we've got to do this, change a little bit of this. Brisbane are just getting the ball too easy, controlling this game in pretty much every aspect. Essendon need to be careful. This could be a blowout quarter. Let's just have a look at the ladder before these two teams come into this game. Of course, Brisbane Lions sitting second on the ladder, played 11. This is round 12 we're in now. They've won 8, lost 2, 1 draw, 113.1. They've got a low percentage, Brisbane Lions, so they'll be wanting to win by as big a margin as they can in this game. They're only 2 points behind Collingwood on top of the ladder, who play tomorrow. And, of course, Essendon sitting down there in 10th position. I tell you what, Essendon don't really want to let this one slide. They want to give it their all in this game because they are equal points with the Western Bulldogs and GWS Giants, who are sitting 7th and 8th on the list. Dangerous for the Bombers, 85%. That is extremely low. That might as well be a full game difference. Of course, Essendon, as I said, they've got that game in hand, but they've got to play the Gold Coast, which is going to be tough for them in that extra game. So Essendon, well, you would have thought they would have come out with a little bit more fight in this quarter. That is for sure in this game. We'll see what they can produce in the second quarter. Hey, folks, let's head back down to the ground. And they will take us into the bounce of the ball for the second quarter here at the Gabba, where it's the Lions by 32 points.
In the forward half, it looks like he's really settled, really comfortable in the team, and in particular in that forward half at the moment.
Quite Loman, unfortunately, through form and fitness, has been subbed out 4 times this year, and he's got another issue with that ankle, which has been causing him some dramas, Brownie.
And unfortunately, he just kicked his first goal for the season, so he's starting to get his confidence back last week. Earlier in this game, but that ankle again, and they can be problematic at that high ankle sprain, which they can hang around, and hopefully that's not a bad one.
Never a good sign when they go straight to go down underneath the rooms there, so find out a little bit more.
It's just sort of Josh Dunkley there too. Zach Nick Martin's a really dangerous player for the Bombers. Their highest rated player, 7 disposals. Just sort of towards the end of that quarter, Josh Dunkley starting to keep an eye on Nick Martin as their main match winner.
Plenty of discussion with Sam Durham as well, who limped off in that first quarter. So
he's back out.
good to see Kyle Loman out there as well.
He's strapped on tight.
So Brisbane are hitting the afterburners. Last year's premiers, after a big win last week, it's been a big start. McCluggage ripped off it. Quick kick by Ford. Ricochets to Neil. Dunkley. Penetrating entry inside 50. And a whistle, and it's going to Laverty. There's Roger Santos chomping at the bit to get out there. Merritt. Ball to Martin. The drive by, kick down the spine. No mark brought down by Wilmot. He scampers after it. He's grabbed by Wealthy, who was back in the side, of course, last week. Balled it up.
Interesting to see how long they persist with Zach Merritt behind the ball. I think you've got to get him up near the source at the moment because that's where they're being smacked.
Big goal, he wanders into the stoppage. Now to Caldwell, tries to spread it wide to Hobbs. He's just got to step on Ashcroft, the 2 number 8s. Back to the skipper. Chips the ball forward, back to Caldwell. Better build up here from the Bombers. The important piece now is they drop it into the pocket. Arriving on the scene was Ross. There's a hole, and you'll get the free kick against Big Payne.
Just panic Jack Payne. Just right, it was good movement by Rod. Just got back deep into the goal square and turn Payne around, and just see Jack just reaches out with that arm, panics left arm. That's a free kick every day of the week.
In 2022, kicked 53 goals, won the BNF. A few issues since then. Bends it round the corner and does it with style, is right, and much needed for the visitors.
So 2 or 3 uncontested marks. Waited till they'd even numbers, but it wasn't a bomb kick, which is going to suit Harris Andrews. It was a flutter pass. Just put it into the area there. Instead of dropping it on the top of the goal square, just put it to a position. Harris Andrews wasn't able to get there for that intercept mark.
It's a good example of how a good kick can make what looks like a poor lead a really good lead. Peter Wright caught out the wrong side there of Jack Payne, but then just doubled back nicely because the ball was kicked into that pocket and drew him straight into it, Brownie, as you're saying. And the ball use through 50 to 70, or the launch zone, as we've called it, is so important against the Lions to make sure you do bypass their spare.
Wright's kicked 5 goals twice against the Lions in his career. Fought, won it down. McCluggage with the tackle on centre field. Ball it up again.
Zach Merritt, if he is to play half back, he can start to push up the ground now. He's coming up to the back of stoppage. He has to be involved centre forward for the Dons.
Hurry kick out. Going very far. Bra in a standing tackle. The restart. This drop spins and wide boot just progresses it forward. Slowly but surely edging forward here, the Lions. Neil wrapped up.
See him there just sitting off the back of the stoppage, patrolling around, taking the highest forward.
Forward, Dunkley slaps it forward. McCluggage and Neil working there up against the boundary. Flick back only as far as Merritt. Merritt out to the space. Welfie is hunted down by Zorko on the boundary line. Beats them through centre wing.
Really important stoppage win there, because all the Lions players have come up to that stoppage and left Cam Rayner on his own inside 50. Against Jackson Pryor there is playing his 50th game, so really important. Rayner's a difficult matchup on his own.
Neil ran through, caught some treatment going the other way, fell to the ground and take the footy with him. Kako, clever. Again, important ball, he won it. Bailey says, I'll have it. Streams through the middle of the Gabba, gives it back to Loman. Looks like he's moving okay now. Slices it forward. Straight to Bailey, who started the move off half back, and in the blink of an eye, he's marked inside 50.
Sums up his year. Zach Bailey's been dynamic.
So proactive here to come off your man and then intercept like that. Essendon looked out for all money, and then the 1-2 sort of sat it up nicely to give himself some space to run into. Held off perfectly and floated back, just rode it nicely with that one hand, didn't he?
It's a player at the top of his game, full of confidence.
18 goals for the season, missed one opportunity to the narrow side at the other end. This one just keeps it low, holds its line, but just off target. So 2 misses, unusual for Bailey.
It's the harder ones. Need to put him on the boundary here.
Make it a grand final.
Merritt leaves the box. To Roberts. Hesitates slightly and then continues and throws his boot into it. The down direction back out there. Slapped out by Payne.
Yeah, said done. What a great role for him to be playing with a dodgy ankle playing on Jack Payne as the key forward.
Looks like that security guard down at Team HBA last week, Matty.
Yes, indeed.
It property, I think you described.
The back, Bailey, Neil, Zorko, spins around, got 15 to 4, gets it back, wobbly one to Bailey, that wasn't 15 either, but it's going to work whatever it was, an inverse Munn, kick inside 50, overrun by Loman, Redmond by hand to Pryor, and McGrath as they think it through outside D50, Gresham waited, Lester got his hand to it, Hobbs, Gresham back to Hobbs. He fumbles. Troublesome getting outside. Their half here. The Bombers called well. Free kick's going to help.
Maybe build up strong contested marks here. So just try and find some free targets. Challenge the Lions defensively. You know, if they're going to go long down the line, it just brings Andrews into play.
Right with the only goal for the term the way of the Bombers. 32 at quarter time. And these are back. McCluggage stands up nicely.
Can't do that. You've got to be more proactive. You're just trying to get that ball moving off half back. Try and find the uncontested marks, Jack. Otherwise, you're going to go long down the line. This can happen all night.
Yeah, I think it's forward uncontested marks too. So challenge the Brisbane defence sort of 20 metres behind the man on the mark. Don't just become some just go backwards and backwards, because they'll just continually get stronger and stronger as a defence, the Lions.
Nimble for a big man, Darcy Ford. He's done a couple of good things tonight. And Will Ashcroft. Norm Smith on the medal named after his father in the Q Clash Premiership. To Bailey. He's up to possession number 11, a couple of behinds.
See this young Zach Johnson there just getting caught, turning the wrong way. Brisbane just picking him off up the line here.
Just the distance to McCluggage, so patient build-up. And black jumpers flood back. Here is the man we mentioned. He's done some nice things. Now we'll see if he's prepared to line up from the boundary line.
Classic kick by Hugh McCluggage. Love that as a forward. It's a really good year. Year 12 clearances last week. Hugh McCluggage started the game off well. 9 disposals so far. This man played in Premiership last year in Oscar's absence. Played well.
A couple of nice things by hand. A couple of searing kicks. What's he got for us now? Darcy Ford, 1 goal for the season. The former Cat. Ruckman from the boundary. Keeps it low. Oh, just bangs into the post.
Geez, that looked good the whole way in, didn't it? Just snuck out. Turnover.
Kick to Roberts, not convincing, slapped away.
I suppose the question mark coming in, the line's been questioned about whether they're going to be on. They're going to be up for this game. 5-day break. Well, actions like that show you they are. Josh Dunton, a great team leader, but they're switched on the lines.
They're fierce at the moment, aren't they? Goldstein on it down in the danger area. Pryor, McGrath, Dersma. Searching kick. Out to Day Wicks, the 19-year-old. Pressed for Vic Country last year. Bendigo Pioneers. Dersma over the top. Perkins' kick had to be accurate. Redmond did pretty well in the end. Plays on. Man on his own. Clark. Who was the star last week. Asks the question of the umpire. Heads towards the Durham direction and right. Thought went to ground and right took the mark.
I thought he was Kako there, but fortunate enough that Darcy fell over.
I think he was lucky that Peter Wright took this mark, but this is a better build-up from Essendon. You can see Redmond thought for a second to go slow here, but all of a sudden opened his vision up and got it out to the fat side of the ground. And if you're going to expose Brisbane, because they get so strong down the line, thinking that they want you to force it to kick it long, is that you can shift it like that.
Decent goal-kicking history against the Lions. Right, and he throws that one through for his second of the night. He tries to lift his team.
Yeah, I agree. Change angles, so they need to build this up. So keep the ball moving though, and get the uncontested mark home, but keep shifting the ball, keep it moving, don't allow the lines to get set. Very difficult to play against. I thought he should have maybe gone to Kako there.
Definitely should have.
Running space.
It's one of those ones as well that sort of ticky touch with the umpire could have played that potentially in the back to Peter Wright, but they've got to make sure, and that's a good example. They win a contested mark there, but the Kako one you have to use because that's the way you draw up a spare when they're playing behind the ball. If you're further up the ground, you've got to use those shorter kicks to then draw Brisbane up. But Peter Wright, he's got a great record against Brisbane. As we've mentioned already, he's kicked 5 a couple of times against them. He's the one that up forward looks the most dangerous at the moment.
Durham staying out of the square, Jack, after that ankle issue. He's deep forward again.
Maybe just trying to get him through to a certain point and then maybe sub him off.
You haven't seen him in the midfield since that ankle issue. He's been camped inside forward 50. Which is where the Bombers head again now. You might see the blue boots flashing through. There they are. Wright does well. Kako, Martin's already got one. This one slides to half the outside of the boot.
Bit of signs for Essendon though. In the middle, pressuring and being able to get the ball out from clearance.
Hensworth and to Bailey.
Actually +5 clearances the Bombers. So got a really good quarter.
Bailey's kick aggressive to McCluggage. Waits for the cavalry to arrive and then looks up the ground towards Ford through the fingertips. Laverty with a bit some work to do here. Archie's got him. And a ball up.
That's good. Laverty just picking the ball up off the ground. Jade Gresham looks a little bit proppy on the sideline as well. There you saw him just on the bike before, but also the tackle as well from Archie. They're the ones you can give free kicks away from.
Laverty trying to spin his way out of the crowd. And again, locked up. Perkins with the football.
So many numbers around this contest here. Brisbane want players to spread out.
Kipwood trying to find isolation. Bobbles out of his hands. Centre field. And another whistle.
So I like that from Essendon, sort of putting lots of numbers around the ball, trying to close it up.
Down it goes to Roberts. Roberts with a wobbly one outside 50, but that'll do. And then he lights a little bit of razzle-dazzle with the mark with the one hand. Then a spearing ball inside 50. Hobbs was hoping it fell to him, but off hands it's Fletcher, dangerous one. Levi Ashcroft with work to do and himself a free kick.
Fletcher kicked the goal in the opening term. Led by 32 at the first break. Peter Wright's kicked the only 2 of the term to bring it back to a 22-point margin. Brisbane were on a tear early. That slick ball movement. Back to Will Ashcroft. Morris comes back inboard to Cameron. Aggressive. Into Fletcher, wants to immediately spin and go. He's got Payne, who is a man mountain in the middle of the... He's a big boy, Brownie. Jack Payne.
Yeah, big unit, very powerful. From the Sunny Coast.
And Pluggage have worked it well to Answorth. Just too far out to score. Wants to lay it off. Sends it into the pocket. Archie's in a dangerous area. Used his body brilliantly. Loman, little step. On too many steps in the end, holding the pill.
50 uncontested marks already to the Lions. Now we know it's their game, but really having their way with the Bombers at the moment. Be able to tighten up. They do have gears. I reckon instead of having 2 gears, probably got 3 and 4 gears, haven't they, in the Lions? They're playing different modes. They're on the same page.
Right. Dursma, good grab. Good, strong grab.
This is good here. They've drawn Harris right up the ground there.
So Merritt has it in the back pocket. Looking down the line. Tight ropes the boundary. They go. Heard the decision against Gresham. Goes to Berry. On at 50. Ball wasn't delivered to him immediately. Nothing doing. McCluggage. Inboard Leicester.
These are those uncontested marks you're talking about, Brandy. They're ones that Essendon need to shut down.
Spreading wide. Ainsworth to the congestion. The mark by Morris.
Yeah, that time they come back to where the traffic was. Happy to go back into the build-up numbers. But again, instead of just bombing it up, yeah, that's just a placement kick. Just puts on the head of Mason Redmond. Well read by Logan Morris. He's got terrific hands.
He's got the ability to read the ball. Yeah, so I love the way that he does it.
Long hands. Probably can fill him up a little bit. A couple of bicep curls, Jake. Get there.
So that's the angle he has to contend with. Shanks to the left. Makes the distance in the end and just stuck it in for a point. Of course, he famously was tucking into some Maccas after a VFL game when he got the call up for his debut.
He wore someone else's boots too.
Yeah, Will Ashcroft's boots are 2 sizes too small.
That was nearly me tonight with how he shoots.
It was, actually.
Couple of runs to the hotel for you, Jack.
Fast bowling, the toes cut out.
Good mark by Martin. Continuing on his great form. Comes into the middle of the Gabba to Redmond. Wants to progress it quickly. Sends a ball deep, really deep. The big Peter Wright out the back though. Durham, the man with the injury, lands on his chest, turns around, bangs it home. 3 in a row for the sash.
Keep him out there. Gotta go and take Big Peter Wright though. That jump of the ball, that launch is the reason it got over the back, and he ended up with the lucky one in the goal square. See here from Peter. Peter Wright's had a good quarter, Jack. He's competed really hard. He's kicked the goal himself. So see, he's just launches the ball. At least creates a contest there and gets lucky over the back to see him done.
Yeah, he has. It's been a great... He's a very impact player, Sam Darren. Obviously, we think he's under a little bit of an injury cloud tonight, playing a little bit more deep forward. But when he plays, he plays tough. And you can see the impact there versus Richmond last week. Dreamtime at the G, 26 disposals, 12 score involvements and 6 clearances. It's just... He's got that sort of hardened runner about him as well.
Looking at his facial expression, he doesn't seem to be travelling that well. Wouldn't want to back him at the score.
Yeah, he's at full forward. I'd be happy with that.
That's cool. Mid line.
Back in the middle. Long searching ball from Caldwell. Caddy punched away from him. Daywicks by hand to Clark. The youngsters in concert with each other. Clark having to forage after it. He's taken the ground by Berry and a ball up.
Good quarter the Bombers. 17 points down now, so it looked like quarter time they're in real strife. But they've just changed the way they've gone about this quarter. They've won clearances, they've been able to get some marks.
Kick the only 3 of the term, 42 points down at quarter time. Looked like how far Brisbane, so great stuff on the road by Essendon. Young side, 4 players in the team tonight that have debuted this season. 7 in total debuted this year. Lockie Neal steps around traffic back to Hipwood. Left foot ball, well cut off by McGrath. Now Wright comes to lend a hand, but Rayner with strength goes in, grabs the foot, he gives it to Cameron. He'll continue to sprint forward. Keep an eye for Cameron if you can see him. Lohman back across the body. It was an unusual ball to say the least. Redmond will be under pressure. Oh, stays on the ground.
So it's, you're right, Brady. They're throwing something different at him here. You can see they want. I think he is a bit proper. You can see playing him at full forward, just getting him out the back, being diligent.
Right in the ruck down to Martin, then Clark. Clark throws his boot into it. Awkward bounce for Daywicks. Welfie comes in to assist with the pack. Andrews did well. Berry, McCluggage dances around his opponent. Runs to the arc. Runs to 49. Sets sail for home offline.
So the stoppage part of the game clearances at the moment is all Essendon in this second quarter, +5. They've found something that works for them.
Keep it close watching McCluggage, 15 disposals now. The run clearance was 6 inside 50s, 6 square environments. Probably best on ground last week along with Cal Archer against the Hawks.
Redmond to Martin, covering a lot of territory. To Clark, he has 3 goals last week. He's had 5 disposals. That's his 6th roaming out in a wing. Looking for Caddy, good mark back. Floating in front of Payne. He knew a bit of that was coming his way and he stood up, didn't he? Adam stood deep with the ankle issue. Peter Wright is the target. Welfie, ground level. Whipped out. Zorko, looked for Berry, didn't quite hit him. Merritt comes back the other way, really good to Martin. Then he lost the ball, footy. Back by hand, Guelphy, Harris Andrews immediately applies pressure. Lockie Neal comes back. Doesn't want to go inboard. I think he just steps around, taps the ball to the ground. Harris, as always, is calm and casual and collected to Fletcher, and they work their way well out of trouble there to the Lions.
Wilmot has it in the middle of the ground. Bailey just sauntering past him, hits Rayner, goes longer, but the kick's off the side of the boot. Morris, was it a saving mark? No, it's not. Oh, yes, it is a mark. The umpire said out of bounds on the full, and then they've coughed it up. McGrath, Redmond. So an opportunity for the Lions goes begging. A little bit of confusion in the ranks there. Bouncing football outside defensive 50, and now Martin has it to Clark. Off the slingshot, can Essendon capitalise? Free kick though, and it's going back to Payne against Caddy.
It's been unlucky. Caddy tripped over. That's what the umpires, I suppose, call the tunnelling almost. Just see Redmond there with a falcon. Good spoil there, important, would have been a goal.
Quarter time, the crowd were casual and calm in their seat. Just you can sense the anxiety of Essendon kicked the only 3, so can they respond at the home side? Zorko, low and flat. Skims through for another behind. They missed opportunities in front of the goals, the Lions.
Something that Brisbane can do, Brownie, in the history, in recent history as well, is that they can pile on a lot of points and struggle to kick straight. So Essendon throwing plenty at the Lions, especially in this quarter.
Caldwell. Now, Caddy again. Works his body under it. Did it well. Gets it to himself. Keeps the ball moving. Has a bounce. Set up okay in breezy conditions. Throws the boot into it. Penetrating ball towards the top of the square. No mark taken. Bouncing ball. Johnson has the football. Runs into a brick wall. He's played it.
Well, let's have deeper entries though, the Bombers. I feel like this quarter, deeper entries, even that one. Bye bye. No, Caddy gets it over the back there.
As Jeremy Cameron-esque, just the way he protected the back of the contest there, just sort of pushed Payne under it, knowing that he could get back onto the ball. Payne much bigger than Nate Caddy.
Daywicks in the end, who had to fend off the tackle. Third gamer, of course, for the Bombers. Those youngsters out there, Zach Johnson, who's the 18-year-old debutant, and Archer Day Wicks. As it's Gabba with a high ball, top of the square for the Lions. 3 in a row kicked by the Bombers, and again they negate an opportunity there. Leicester has it.
Sticky fingers by Leicester, who's under pressure if they turned it over. Casual from Berry. Payne, back to Zorko. Turns it over, unusual for Dane Zorko, straight to Peter Wright. He sends it back the other way to Gresham on the overlap. Redman, just a bit messy in the middle of the ground, and then Redman gives away a free kick to Zorko. Berry gets another opportunity.
Gardner free, inside 50.
Using his short kick brilliantly, the Bombers almost keeping off. Lockie Neal's had enough. He says, I'm going all the way. Archie arrived. Another behind the way of Brisbane. So they have not kicked a goal this term. Essendon have kicked 3. It was 32 at quarter time. It's back to 19. The Lions have kicked 6 behinds now for the term without a major.
Laverty out towards Martin, who was a couple of steps away, but he gets a free kick for shepherding, and then off to Dursma. Wright's running along the dugout, takes it, looking for the flyby to Dursma, fakes, and then kick towards the pockets. Up they go. Wellfield also Leicester and out.
It's a good entry though, inside 30. Just force the Lions onto the back foot, getting deep in defence. Get the ball up here, create some forward half time. It's going to have to be happy in this quarter. Even though the Lions haven't kicked it straight, been able to hit the scoreboard. The Bombers 3 goals to zip.
Goldstein didn't expect to be spending much time playing in the first this year, but so many injuries. He's done a great job as he always does. Berry by hand, they're under pressure. McCluggies now, they get a bit of run going. Driving ball up towards the wing. Archie, good in the air. Front on contact, you get a free kick here, all Archie. Good to go on the opening term. All last week against the Hawks. And the great crowd at the Gabba. Light drizzle around. Just happy to go across the goal. As well weighted to Wilmot. Started the game nicely as Darcy.
It's better from Essendon. They've readjusted nicely on that switch. Plays on this closer side of the ground, close enough to their opponent so it can't be a quick around the world type movement.
Eventually the hard-running Leicester provided the option, number 35. They access the middle. It's going to take a long time to get there. Laverde with the fist. Coming back was Daywicks for the Bombers. Now Martin takes a little sneaky, cheeky bounce. Drives it forward perfectly, hitting Gresham on the lead. He's going to play on here, Gresham. There's no one there. It's coming, it's coming. Oh, also coming, though, is Fletcher.
Kick to goal in the first quarter, last line of defence there. So, short. Payne with the long kick to Berry. A couple of steps in front of Clark. Drops it up. Lohman. McCluggage. Dancing around centre field. Classy stuff. Lohman again. Spots a man in Morris on his own.
Yeah, just waiting for the options to open up there. Darcy Gardner was free for a long period of time, Jack. Then it was Logan Morris. So just kept separated the Lions forwards. Made it difficult for the Bombers defenders to pick up their men.
Yeah, the snap here, Rich. This is a big hit. These sort of ones, either you belly them, they go straight up in the air, or sometimes you hit them a bit skinny.
Shot clock's at 7 seconds. Morris round the corner. It's not a bad attempt. Starts right and swings right around for an elite goal. Logan Morris. After Essendon were pressing with 3 goals on the bounce, Logan Morris takes some momentum for Brisbane into half-time.
I forgot to mention the third option there. Hit it absolutely mid from the boundary there from Logan Morris. But build up here from the Brisbane Lions. I thought Setterfield might have been able to just go a little bit better here on Kyle Loman. Just let him go through, mob through 50 and kick it into that pocket there. And this is a phenomenal kick. Brownie, it's one of the toughest kicks to kick in AFL. He's running around and snapping it from 45 metres there, but he hit it absolutely pure.
Drop punts don't work from that pocket either. So you're better off going to snap here, right? He's a classy player, no question about it. Second year, he's got a presence about him.
Hugh McCluggage having a game too, involved in that bit of play there. Already up to 17 disposals, 7 score involvements. High pressure points as well, plenty of tackles and putting on the pressure around the ground as well.
Before last year's premiership, Logan Morris wasn't born the last time Brisbane won a premiership round.
That's what I didn't know. That's what's up.
He's the only one here in the gap that does it. Fort Goldstein. Null void in the middle.
There was a cheering round of applause as Brownie was making his way up to the comms box. I'll see the fans still love you, Brownie.
Yeah, just give him a there you go, Tickle.
Half time. Well, Brisbane led it by 32 at quarter time. 3 goal to 1 term. The first 3 in the way of the Bombers. So good effort by Essendon to keep it back to a 26-point margin. Plenty of behinds for Brisbane for the term. They kicked 1 goal 6, and Essendon added 3 goals, 2 to their tally. So half-time here at the Gabba. Brisbane 7-9, 51 lead. Essendon 4-1, 25 by 26 points. Just a bit of light rain falling, Sarah.
Thank you very much, Mark Howard. Yes, that margin probably flatters the Bombers a little bit, who are much better in that second term, but nonetheless, the Brisbane Lions have this game very much in control at the moment. Jason Dunstall, David King, Joey Montagno, they were a little wasteful, otherwise they would have really blown the Bombers out of the water.
Yeah, it certainly feels like there's more than 26 points in the game, but Peter Wright kicks a couple, and then, as Howard just said, 1 goal 6 to the Brisbane Lions. They just frittered the ball. Some really good scoring opportunities.
If you play the control game, you generally struggle in the chaos game. If you want to play the uncontested mark game, they've been taken away from where they're strong, the Bombers, and a 6 goal 7 to 1 point in terms of the turnover battle. They've just taken their game off them.
34 entries to 18. It's fair to say Brisbane look pretty comfortable. The way this game's being played, it's on their terms. If not for some accuracy, it'd be an even bigger lead. Essendon, as we said, showed a little bit of fight, and Peter Wright had a terrific quarter, but Brisbane, it feels like are in complete control.
All right, so we assess the damage at the halfway mark for the Bombers and what they are doing this evening. What would Brad Scott's message be at halftime to them, Jace? The fact that they were able to get a few things in their favour. Look, their clearances and their contests were both better in that second term.
They were, but they're not being able to control the footy when they win it at all. That's one of the big issues for them, and the turnovers, as King was just talking about, are killing them. So they've got a lot of problems to deal with. Look, for them, it's about persistence. Let's be as competitive for as long as we possibly can. I don't think in his wildest dreams Brad Scott's sitting there thinking, well, we can come back and win this, but I think he thinks, well, 26 points, that's manageable. We can really fight this out.
So before the game, Thursday Night Footy on Fox, you posed a question to Chris Fagan about the way they were going to play tonight. Let's have a listen.
Yeah, it's something we've been working on pretty hard at training, and I agree with you, Jason. It is something that we can improve on. Our forward line's probably been our most disrupted line this year too, with injuries. Charlie Cameron's missed a few. Kai Lohman hasn't played all that much. Logan Morris missed a game or two, and obviously Joey's not there anymore. So it's taking us a little while to get that connection.
So that was inside 50 conversion there for the Brisbane Lions. Halftime highlights with thanks to Harvey Norman. King, it's an area that obviously Chris Fagan was all over.
Well, you put this on the radar early, Jace. They've had their way with them in the forward 50. Their kicks have been to advantage. Their forward lines function really well.
Yeah, and they're going at 50%, which is up from the low 40s that they've been in for most of the season. And a lot of the time they haven't bombed away. They've looked to just drop it into a hole, find either a one-on-one or a player in a little bit of space and let them lead up to the footy. There's the odd, I guess you call that a contested mark, although no one else really competed in the end. But they found some good options going inside 50 rather than just bombing away.
So their inside 50 marking definitely a feature. The ball movement as well. The Bombers, you picked this up, Kingy, retreating in defence, not taking them on, but hanging back.
Yeah, and it's not really about who's not there, because this is how they sort of want to play. We've shown this in weeks gone by on first crack. So pockets open up in the field. They allow you to hit up. So contested mark, big body, good mark. Contested mark in that dump kick out. But Lohman's able to release easily off McGrath. he wants to roll. They want to do a bit of substituting down back and hold the deepest defender there. That just gives the easy hit up. And Loma takes no contested mark on the wing. Now the Bombers all want to flood to the D50. Well, it just leaves big voids of space in really dangerous areas, Joe.
Yeah, and you can see as this unfolds, look at Brisbane queuing up. They know they want to come through the corridor. We've seen it for 5 years now. Essendon, as they have liked to do, they want to retreat and fall back. They want to protect the defensive 50. And as we've highlighted in recent weeks, against the lesser teams, they probably can force mistakes with the opposition's ball movement. When you're playing against good teams who have a good system with ball movement, they don't kick it back to Essendon.
Look at this guy. He refuses to turn the ball over. He refuses to just dump kick it out, which is what they'd set up for. And it was a pretty good job by Essendon early, but they're just too classy, Jace.
Yeah.
They just know what's required. They've been in big games. They've been in bigger games than this home and away game at home at round 12. They understand the situation, and they've toyed with them a little bit through the corridor.
I think it's too easy at times for the Bombers' defensive structure just to everyone want to run back towards goal.
Yeah.
Sometimes you've got to come up and try and cut the ball off. Put pressure on the person using it, because at the moment they're getting picked apart.
Yeah, they've relied on teams to kick the ball back to them in recent weeks, particularly those lower teams. Brisbane Lions aren't doing that tonight, and that's why we're seeing the scoreline that we do.
Yeah, and so if you allow Brisbane to mark the ball, we know what happens. If you allow Essendon to mark the ball, we know what happens. They've taken that game completely off them tonight. Look at that. I mean, that's the sign of a really good team in the Brisbane Lions saying, nah, you know what, we're just not going to let you play. We know how you want to play. We've scouted. You want to find an easy target or two and build the ball slowly, Jace. But they've said no.
It's a great question to ask when you look at a team's strength. You say, okay, we know you can do that. What else can you do if you don't get that? You know, if we don't give you what you want, what else can you do? And at the moment, the Bombers are finding it tough, but they are outmanned.
And that was Faig's other answer though pre-game. He said, are you going to allow Essendon to chip the ball around? He said, no, we're playing our forward half game. We're going to make them kick long down the line, take away the uncontested marks. That's exactly what they've done defensively, and it's why Essendon have struggled to move the ball.
They're doing it so well. They are the reigning premiers. Let's head now to ground level where Alistair Lynch is watching it all unfold. Lynchy, how are you seeing things?
Oh, well, I think the boys summed it up beautifully about how the Brisbane Lions have dominated in so many aspects of the game. There were some individual wins, I think, for Essendon in that first half. Peter Wright certainly did a job kicking a couple of goals. I thought Nate Caddy turned things around a little bit in that second quarter. There was too many intercept marks from the likes of Harris Andrews in the first quarter, so he competed much better. But once again, it was Nick Martin. I mean, he dominated many aspects of that game as an individual in the first half. We know over the last 6 weeks, he's been the #1 forward impact player in the AFL, and again, he was very strong through the middle of the ground with 3 clearances, 17 disposals, impacted the scoreboard as well, and he stands out really. I mean, he's got a fair amount of class, and obviously a lot of young players, and a depleted list really. So I think Nick Martin will go in at halftime really happy with the way he's performing, and a few of his youngsters, so if they come along for the ride, they'll just hang in there, and maybe with a little bit of luck, they'll be there when the whips are cracking late to challenge the Brisbane Lions. But the Lions are dominating so many aspects of the game, and this man here, we know best on ground last week, but his class to find targets, and that's what we haven't seen enough of from Essendon, is get in space, pin the ears back, and if there's an option open, hit it. So Nick Martin, first class in the first half.
A shining light for the Bombers. Thank you very much to Alistair Lynch. We're now going to head across to the newsroom. John Ralph has the latest. Is the Bombers' injury list growing even further? Sam Durham looks really sore.
Yeah, scans will tell the tale, but at least he was back onto the field in that second quarter, even though he looked very proppy and he was stationed at full forward. So they'll be hoping that's very much an ankle roll rather than a low-level syndesmosis. Here you see Lester drop at the hip. The ankle gets trapped underneath him there, and the umpires there are told to stop play if there's an injured player in the vicinity. That's the expression. So even though that rule may one day be exploited, I think it's the right expression there. He learns from Jade Gresham. You let them fly, you kick the goal, but he's a very sore boy, and you would not be shocked if that eventually he's diagnosed as a syndesmosis sprain.
And what about Kai Lohman? How's he doing?
Well, certainly he seems to have got across the ground really well after another ankle issue. So issues in round 1, round 3, another shoulder issue in the last couple of weeks. There's that old-fashioned ankle roll, went down into the rooms, but has really got across the ground well and doesn't seem hampered at all. So really good news for Kai Lohman after a tough year and his first goal of the season finally 8 weeks in.
Fingers crossed he is okay. Thank you very much to John Ralph. Plenty more still to come on Thursday night footy on Fox, because after the break, John Ralph is back with the round 12 blowtorch, all the red hot issues out of the weekend of football and what we can look forward to.
All right, folks, there we go. It's half time. And of course, the Bombers actually won that second quarter by 6 points. Of course, putting on 3 straight goals. Brisbane Lions up to their old tricks, kicking skew if 1 goal 6. Wow-wee. Wow-wee. There we go. 7-9-51 Brisbane, Essendon 4-1-25. 26-point margin Brisbane's way. Brisbane look like they are in cruise mode out on the ground this evening, finding a lot of space when they're going forward. Essendon not manning up at all, it looks like, pretty much down the wing, etc. like that. Brisbane just having a picnic out there. Essendon working hard, though, for every possession. As I said, Wright looked a lot better and Caddy looked reasonably good there for the Bombers in the second quarter. But, you know, anything can happen in football. I think the Brisbane Lions, you know, as happy as they are, they're in cruise mode in this game. If they continue to kick, behinds instead of goals, that's going to keep Essendon in this game. And Essendon, you just never know in football, folks. You just never know what can happen. Essendon just might get a bit of a run on and then have the Brisbane Lions chasing their tails. You just don't know what can happen in football. Especially after the first quarter, we thought, hello, how far is this going to be for the Brisbane Lions after leading 32 points after the first term? Of course, Skewiff kicking and Essendon kicking straight. There we go, back to a 26-point margin. Tell you what, could be interesting if the Bombers are within a couple of goals at three-quarter time. What's going to happen here up at the Gabba? Well, let's go and have a look at some of the stats now. Let's have a look at the goal scorers. We did get a couple of extras in that quarter. And, of course, Peter Wright there for the Bombers, the only multiple goal scorer on the ground this evening so far. He's got 2 goals. Sam Durham and Nick Martin are the other singles for the Bombers. For Brisbane Lions, all single goal scorers, Darcy Wilmot, Cam Rayner, Logan Morris has chipped in with 1, Kai Lohman, Jasper Fletcher, don't forget Charlie Cameron and Calamachi, they've also got a goal each. All right, disposal getters starting to stretch out the disposals now. Jared Berry continues to lead the way on 18 touches, 13 kicks, 5 handballs, 7 marks, 2 tackles, a clearance. He's kicked to behind. Hugh McCluggage stepping up his work rate. He's up to 17 now at half time with 9 and 8, 7 marks, 4 tackles. Nick Martin, best for the Bombers there was 17. Not a bad game. He always plays reasonably well. Nick Martin there for the Bombers on 17, 9 kicks, 8 handballs, 4 marks, 2 tackles, 3 clearances. He's kicked a sausage roll for the Bombers, so he's got to be happy with that. He needs to continue the way he's going in the second half for the Bombers. If the Bombers want to have any sort of chance, one of their leading players for the Bombers, Nick Martin, Mason Redman, up to 14 for the Bombers there. Let's just roll down. Lockie Neal, he's going right, as I said, cruise mode. Just the 13 touches for him. Zach Merritt, come on, you need to lift a bit for the Bombers, 13. There we go. Will Ashcroft on 12. Zorko on 11. Who else have we got down there for everyone? Peter Wright, who ended up having a reasonably good second term. Just the 8 touches. He had 6 kicks, 2 handballs, 4 marks, a tackle, 3 hitouts, a clearance, and 2 goals. Well done. He's doing all right. Charlie Cameron will be quiet in that second term, still on the 1 goal. Just the 8 disposals, 5 kicks for him. Let's keep going on down. Who else do you want to have a look at? Angus Clark for the Bombers there. Well, he had a great first debut game. This week, though, 7 touches, 5 kicks. Yet to put a score on the board for the Bombers. You know what? I'll be happy to see if he can do a little bit. Of course, Durham, though, for the Bombers, rolled his ankle, so he's been placed down full forward. Looks a little bit proppy. Hopefully all okay with him. Isaac Kako, just the 6 touches, 3 kicks, 1 behind. He needs to lift as well, especially if the Bombers want to do good. Eric Hipwood, quiet game from him, just the 5 disposals. No score on the board for the 4 down there for the Lions. 3 kicks, 2 handballs, no score as yet. All right, let's have a look at the ruckman for Essendon. Of course, Todd Goldstein, he's only had the 1 possession. He's just had 1 handball. He's had 21 hitouts and a clearance. That's about it. And, of course, Darcy Fort for Brisbane. He's just had the 15 hitouts All right, let's pop over and have a little bit of a look at the team disposals. We're not too far away. What are we? 5 minutes away from the bounce of the ball to the second half here at the Gabba. Of course, Brisbane Lions leading the way by 26 points. The action will kick back not too far away, folks. Not too far away. Well, the action started again. But the Brisbane Lions on track for big disposal count for this evening. 214, 159, plus 55 disposal count. I tell you what, they're just controlling every aspect of this match is the Brisbane Lions. What's that? 52 odd more kicks there for Brisbane. Only the 3 handballs inside 50s. Essendon well down. Only 18 inside 50s for a half. Well, I tell you what, yeah, they need to do something about that. Got to get the hands on the ball a bit more. As I said, Brisbane Lions stopping Essendon doing that chipping game. 18 inside 50s for 5 scoring shots for the Bombers. The Brisbane Lions, however, 34, nearly double the Bombers. 34 inside 50s for 16 scoring shots. Disposal efficiency, Brisbane pretty good there, 78.5%, going above team average. Essendon on their average. Free kicks, well, there's not a great deal of free kicks there happening today. Well, there's not much contact out there. Brisbane Lions, as I said, they're finding a lot of space, a lot of open space. The Essendon players seem to be a fair distance off them. When Brisbane take it out of their back line, of course, running it down the wing, changing back to the corridor, they just seem to have plenty of space. 9-6 plus 6. Plus 3, I should say, in the free kick department to Brisbane Lions. There we go. Stoppages. There we go. The hitouts, the Bombers, they're in front. 24-17 in the hitouts. They need to utilise that bit more. Actually, the Bombers doing good in the clearances. They're winning in all aspects here. 18-12. Just can't do enough with it when they get it. They're plus 6. So they're doing extremely well. They're certainly holding Brisbane. 42 is their season average, only 12, so they are only a quarter of the way there, pretty much Brisbane, so they need to lift that part of their game. Centre clearances, Bombers doing best there as well. They're plus 2, 6-4, and stoppage clearances, of course, the Bombers are doing good in that part of the game as well, 12-8. So the Bombers on target for their average, of course, definitely on season average for their clearances, stoppage clearances, and marginally ahead on their centre clearances, where Brisbane well under in that. They're just dominating the rest of the game. Contested possessions, as I said, not really a hard contested game, this one today. 61-60, only one the difference. That's the uncontested, as I said. Brisbane controlling this game. 149-96. There we go. 53 plus. To Brisbane up till half-time. Wowee. Turnovers, Essendon turning over the ball a fair bit there, 33 times. Brisbane exceptionally good here, just at 21 turnovers up until half-time. Of course, season average 61, so Brisbane doing absolutely fantastic. As we can see with the uncontested possessions, Brisbane controlling this game. The marking stats, 83-39 plus 44 to the Lions. So the Lions are a plus in that department more than what Essendon have actually taken. Oh, there we go. So Brisbane Lions have done a fantastic job in taking that away from Essendon's game and utilising that into their play and their favour out there on the ground and within this game today. 83-39 the marks. Marks inside 50. As I said, Brisbane just controlling it. 10-4. Brisbane pretty much already on their season average of 11.8 marks inside 50. So Brisbane Lions, their numbers are looking really, really good. Essendon, well, they're still a little bit low, just a 4. They need to lift that. Contested marks, 9-7. There we go. As I said, with all that uncontested ball, not going to be a great deal of contested tackles. Brisbane doing well there. 23 Brisbane. 12 inside tackles. Inside 50 tackles for Brisbane line. Above season average already. They like to put the pressure on, does this fantastic Brisbane defence team. Essendon, look at that. Not one tackle inside their forward 50. I tell you what, Brad Scott's not going to be happy with that. they'll say, boy, you need to lift your game, lift your pressure. Come on, Essendon. I tell you what, Essendon are really good in the game when they can get some speed on the ball and put pressure on the opposition. That's how they've done other teams in before. But that pressure just doesn't seem to be there up until half-time from the Bombers, and that's one area they certainly do need to fix up if they want to close the gap here, this margin, to Brisbane this evening. But there we go. All right, folks, we are just about ready to head back down to the ground there. Umpires in position, players in position. Let's head back down to the ground for the second half. It's the Lions by 26.
Talking about Jim McCluggage, who was impressed you, Jack Rebo.
He's been fantastic in the first half there. I better turn my mic on actually so he can hear me. But he's sort of Mr. Fix, I reckon. He goes inside, he goes outside. He's playing the wing for so long now, but his statistics this year, career high in terms of what he's doing. It's probably been a little bit more on-ball material from him, Mark Howard, and I just love his work rate and being here live and actually watching him work around the ground. It's fantastic.
He's so dangerous because he puts it inside 50, 6 inside 50. He's had 7 score involvements too, so he's one to watch.
So it is 26 points, the lead at half-time after it was 32 at quarter-time. We recommence. Goldstein with Setterfield and Caldwell, the early possessions out to Laverde. The side of the boot. That's going to work. It's clever. It's a little kick to Roberts. Short to Caldwell, edge of the square. Boots it long, penetrating. Kikadi! Oh, that's a good start for the Bombers. He's clocked it.
He's likely tonight, Nate Caddy's early days against Harris Andrews. He was held down. Andrews was actually playing him really nicely here, but you can see Andrews out the front and just getting a run and a jump. And this is exactly when he's best. And I love that little sort of right leg movement there to sort of shift pain out of the way. It's smart movement and smart body contortion from Nate Caddy.
So his 21st match. He's still a work in progress, the young forward. 12-14 this season. And that's a really clean start.
Fantastic. Love his presence for a young forward. It's been great. Goes to the mark, launches himself with the ball. He's had a nearly last few weeks, though, where he's got to those marks and just dropped him at the last minute. Tonight he completes it. It's a really good contested mark. We spoke about the lack of contested marks Essendon had in the first half, especially that first quarter. That was the difference.
Good build-up. Yeah. Really good build-up there. Just the short kick in for Archie Roberts opened it up. As soon as you get in, and Coleman was the one that turned and went. They saw a little short possession that shifts the defence completely and puts all the Brisbane Lion players out of kilter. This little kick inside just breaks it up, and all of a sudden players that are a kick away from the ball are now within a kick, and they can get it out the back and bypass so many numbers, and that brought Caddy into exactly the right position.
Brisbane kicked 5 of the first 6. Essendon responded with 4 of the next 5. Bring it back to a 20-point margin. Goldstein, Zorko. Now McCluggage drives the ball forward. Cameron will stay down. Rayner attacks, but standing in the hole and taking good markers. Laverde immediately distributes to Martin by hand. Setterfield's got the overlap runner. Now it's Johnson, the debutant. Rangy customer, a couple of bounces. Kako steamed into the back. He'll get a free kick. Good start this in the second half by Essendon.
A bit of a hospital handball there. I was at Kako, but drew the free kick nicely.
Plays on. Shapes towards the pocket. Caddy will come again. Good luck outmarking Harris Andrews. He tries to. Halves the contest, which is not a bad result. Berry caught in a tackle.
You're right, halving the contest there, Howe, is so important. But Caddy, you can see having a few words to Harris, but playing him from behind is such a more dominant position for the undersized player.
So Bombers press again. Caldwell out of the congestion. Yes! Caldwell! 2 quick fire goals for the Bombers, and it's game on in the third term.
Yeah, good effort. Second forward half stoppage and then able to score from there. Good by Caldwell. Goes down there, makes the most of those opportunities. Great start for the Bombers. Started this third quarter. Good contest, deep entries. That's what I like, Jack. We started to see it in the second quarter. So when they entered inside 50, the Bombers, they were a lot deeper the entry. So even if they couldn't take the mark, they were able to create a stoppage, lock the ball in the front half. They've done that this time.
+7 in clearances, Brownie, and 5 goals have come from clearances from Essendon. So they brought it back into the trenches after that first quarter. Their ability to actually get the ball in close. They've surrounded with numbers, and you can see there, 5 of the last 6 goals have been to Essendon, and it's because they've been able to bring it back into that close, tight game that suits them.
First 5 or 6 was Brisbane. Now, next 5 or 6 Essendon. And look, cooked at quarter time, 32 down the Bombers. And they've responded brilliantly now. It's the Lions that need to get moving. Neil turns it over to Kako Dunkley.
The one area I think they can improve is their pressure. Essendon, it's now at 157 at the moment, so bring it into the contest. If you don't win it, they have to put the pressure on and tackle.
Clarkage Rayner with strength. Good tackle, though. Got his man.
Exactly that.
Roberts, strong tackle. Just outside 50 here, Archie.
That tackle's so important because that's where they, I guess, 2 weeks ago against the Bulldogs, that tackle was broken, and that's why their pressure was so low, because they were able to get outside of the contest. You stick that tackle there, Archie Roberts, and you get a shot on goal, but you also be able to, that pressure rating can start to go up.
Debuted round 21 last year. He's in the mix for Rising Star as well. From 55 out to really quieten the crowd at the Gabba, and floats. Fort arrives with a timely fist.
That's good, yeah. It's good pressure. We just didn't see that in the first half. So I think that Brad Scott would have reminded his troops there at half time. The boys, we can lift our pressure. So the tackle count, they were under the lines. Pressure rating of about less than 1.6, which is not a great number.
Another of the big men for the Lions, Payne. Sinks his slipper into it, no mark. Goldstein, Caldwell. Intercepted by Berry, floats one to half forward, no mark, Hepwood immediately grabs. Taken by Laverde, ball it up.
Thanks, Eric. There's pressure and then there's preferred pressure as well, so Eric Hepwood should take that mark coming out, but because of this lift in pressure from Essendon, Laverde straight onto him as well.
So Merritt rifles it out, Hobbs, Caldwell. Come laterally, Roberts running hard. Low ball, bit of a worm burner. Caddy trying to run onto it, and Gresham, they almost upset each other. Andrews holds firm, tried to get it to Berry. Hot football to win. Kako snaffled it. Centre field, Hobbs by hand. Martin, similar spot to the first goal of the match. Gresham.
Great pressure though by the Bombers again. They come down, good frontal pressure. Locking in the front half, turn the ball over. Loving Archie Roberts, his run, just leaving congestion. That's really helping the spread for the Bombers.
So Gresham with another early opportunity here in this third quarter. Opens up the angle and just kicks it a little bit too fat.
That's poor technique there by Jay Gresham. Just too slow kicking the snap of the ball there. I'd love to see him get out just a little bit further, but he snuck forward perfect there. Couldn't impact from a defensive point of view. You can see that pressure factor there that we've been harping on about in this third quarter. Got forward, but just needed to do better with that left foot snap.
Just a shot on the run deep in the first half did Gresham. Now that one a touch skinny on the snap. Fort. A pretty good night. Hipwood been relatively quiet. Berry hit him in the head. Comes back to Hipwood. Scoops it forward by hand. Neil attempts to keep it in right in front of his teammates on the bench as the Ashcroft boys look to come on the ground.
Bombers going at 100% inside 50 in terms of scoring this quarter already. So it's one part of their game that is working for them.
Brisbane 32 at quarter time. 26 to the good at half-time, back to a 12-point margin, only 2 goals to turn the way of the Bombers, who've kicked 5 of the last 6. McCluggage steps through, scurries the ball forward, Rayner goes off the ground, Lohman, hands and knees, Essendon under pressure, Merritt always works his way through things calmly.
So smart just to find the mark there, just to settle it down. You can see, you sense the pressure was there, the ball was on the ground a lot, just to find the mark, set themselves up again.
Martin coming up to his 20th disposal, going at 80%. He's kicked a goal. He's in rare form, Nick Martin. This time, drags all the way out to McGrath. Has to wait. Bailey. Now Pryor, the former Lion. With Gresham. He's got a step on Leicester. Plays on. They'll come again here, Essendon. Wright will be the deep target. Durham still out there. And Kenny floats across, claims it. Plays on, rush upon. Except the shot at goal.
They transition across the other side of the ground as well, so definitely a tactic charge by the Bombers. Been great.
Answorth, long ball for the Lions. Laverty in a foot race here with Morris. Laverty wins the race. Handball too hot for McGrath. Roberts comes through. He's met by Morris. Umpire wants it.
I like the way they've changed. So instead of playing straight lines, the Bombers, they've just tried to get it out to the open side and attack from the open side of the ground. That's just allowed the forwards to have good jumps to the ball. Caddy just had a rush of blood.
Good effort by Dave Zorko though to remain on there, because that one you can give up pretty easily.
Sometimes you can either laugh or cry, I reckon.
Well, he'd be certainly laughing. He's got him in his team. He's going to be a superstar.
So, fought with the big fist. McCluggage with the handball. Grabbed by Martin. Redmond. Looks the right way. Hoping for Clark. Over his head and rushed out by Fletcher.
Great signs early in this third quarter, Jack. Just the way they've been able to set up the game. So, pressure, they've lifted. Contest work was very good in the second quarter. They continue that on. But the way they moved the ball has been very impressive this quarter.
Yeah, Archie Roberts has been critical in this quarter as well. I think his generation on the left foot's really important for Essendon off half back and through that mid part of the ground.
Goldstein goes himself to Clark, who had Bailey on his hammer and tack. And then Caldwell taken to ground. Truly gets the free kick.
Questions being posed from the crowd who were calm earlier on.
So they switch again.
Laverde will drive it all the way to the outer wing. There's Roberts again, as you just mentioned him. He's covering ground, Brownie.
Go and check his GPS, Harry.
Right, just missed Kako, but he's got speed. He'll still get it here. Kako steps around no one in particular. Sends it forward. Ford comes back. Dangerous. Gresham ground level. Steps. Peter Wright. Another hand pass. Snapping ball for another one for the Bombers. Martin drives it home. Essendon kicked free to open the turn. Martin's got two. And it's a 5-point game.
He's an incredible surge runner, Nick Martin. He was involved in that contest at half-back 30, 40 seconds prior, and what he does, he stays so close. And Brownie, Archie Roberts is setting the game up as well with his work.
It's been outstanding. So the game style has come together, but you've asked for switches, but you need your players then to run and take off. So Archie Roberts has done this 3 times early in this third quarter. This is allowing them to spread the Lions' defence, spread them out, make the ground wide, and then they can go inside 50. Now, clearly that's a mistake, but they're able to tidy up. But they're going into even numbers in their forward line, which makes it easy to score.
Yeah, and as much as Archie Roberts led out to the wing, it was Martin that was coming into the space and sort of tracking it through the corridor there. And he just stays with the ball. He stays with the ball. And then all of a sudden, when there's the point to go where it can impact, he puts the hammer down and he gets there.
Many not expecting this. McCluggage to Dunkley, off a step, over the head of Archie. Pryor at half back. Perkins had it spent before he took it. Martin just threw it on the boot. Roberts, dinky tap to Clark. That was clever in the end from the young man. Quick movement of the football. Kick towards forward 50. Off the slingshot. Payne. Handball. McCluggage. Inboard. Wilmot. Over the head. To Levi Ashcroft. Kicks it to Lohman. Lohman's kick. Where was that to? Pryor cut it off. Gardner. Bit of pressure out there at the moment. Then Wright was hoping for Redmond out of play, and they've given insufficient intent.
Alistair Lynch, what do you see at ground level?
I think Brownie touched on it before. The Essendon Footy Club are winning at the contest, but then spreading exceedingly hard. So they're working much harder than Brisbane. Brisbane, once again, just look a little bit comfortable, just the work rate's dropped.
Deep ball from Will Ashcroft. And Caddy's doing it at both ends.
And you can see this in the second quarter. He was able to nullify Harris Andrews. Now he's getting his game.
And set Goldstein a task. Fletcher steps around him with ease. Now to Levi. To Will. Another inside 50 ball from Will Ashcroft. Caddy's looming again. Caddy gets out of his hand. Trouble now. McCluggage from the pocket. McCluggage right across the face. Gardner appeals for a free kick. Touched across the line. Nate Caddy's up and back. He's forward and back.
Well, they've got more energy in the lines this quarter. The younger players there, Archie Roberts, Nate Caddy, just spreading across the field. He's really jumping at his balls.
Brisbane crowd willing. Their heroes on at the moment as Martin blasted out of the congestion over the head of Wilmot, over the head of all of them. Goes through that 4 or 5 players. Hot potato over on the far side. Lester just shoved out of it. Right, Kako. And the little one from Day Wicks, McCluggage. He gets it to Ainsworth, who spins himself out of the pack towards... It's Forvic to Gardner again. Was there a nudge? No, there wasn't.
I think it was good use of the body. There's so much pressure from Essendon. They had the opportunity to take it up their other end, but just Redmond, I think, was thinking he was going to impact in that contest in front of him, coming in to help Todd Goldstein. Got too close to the ball and it just went that little bit further. And the makeshift forward in Darcy Gardner gets a shot on goal.
So Gardner, who's had 5 touches, shot on goal, and a goal. Steadies the ship back to 11.
Kick 4 against Melbourne, actually, because that makes him 4. Started the year off last year, Jack, as a forward, until he did his knee, ACL. So he's come back. He's a good swing man. He can play both ends of the ground, started his career as a defender. Just a quick look, under the current day rules, you're allowed to do this, eh? Just ease your man under with the full open palms. Well, coach, we're sitting in the grandstand, so I'm sure we should be allowed to do that. But he goes good enough to go back and kick the goal. So against the run of play that was, but they're able to get some territory for the last 2 or 3 minutes, put a bit of pressure on the Essendon defence.
Do you expect Brisbane to continue to do this with players like Darcy Gardner, Brownie, trying to fill this Joe Danaher hole? Because I would see Darcy Gardner as back, and you've spoken about him playing forward, but they're looking for that second key forward, aren't they?
Keep running their way through. Unfortunately, Sam Day's been injured. And Henry Smith as well.
At the last 6 scores, the Bombers, 3 goals. So they need a response from Brisbane. Good tackle. Cameron comes off the line, turns over to Archie. Here they come again. Hipwood runs into a couple of Bombers, just bangs his way through the pack. Morris at ground level. Pryor, nice little step. Has the confidence to run forward with the footy. Spreads out wide to Kako. Wilmot right on his hammer.
Martin up to 8 disposals this quarter already. This is the difference between VFL footy and AFL. You've just got to be so quick. Charlie Cameron, electrically quick. First game with Aaron Johnson.
Setterfield and Gamey on the left.
Plus 20 disposals for Essendon this quarter as well, so getting their hands on the ball. There's the young man in game number 1 and one of their other young superstars, Nate Caddy, who's had a fantastic 3rd quarter.
Right, Hipwood. Ashcroft, Archie, Slick. Essendon though, get it momentarily, they give it straight back to McCluggage though. And Morris just finds space.
That's right, that man McCluggage again, up to 26 disposals. Enormous score. 10 inside 50s now. He's the one I'll be claiming.
Going with the snap this time, Brownie, just maybe too far out.
Well, he's not this far out from the second quarter. It wasn't even
Beautiful. The goals of the night earlier on.
Yeah.
2 goals for the season. Lynchy just giving him a touch of advice there.
I wouldn't be taking advice from Lynchy.
Not from this far out, that's for sure.
So what can he do? Morris, just to steady things down for Brisbane. Good looking effort, just a touch to the near side.
You're right on the spot there, Lynchy.
Yeah, absolutely. Just started the left and didn't come back.
Lynchy would have missed his foot from there.
Would have teed it up high and left everything out there.
So Merritt gives it everything. Punched away from Caddy. Neal. Payne wobbles one back towards Cameron. Couldn't complete the grab off his chest. McGrath throws Roberts under the punt. Laverty. His handball out wide at a Pryor. Back to McGrath. Wormburner. Berry cut it off. Kako grabbed him. Free kick. Brisbane. High contact Berry.
So, man, he's done a good job on Charlie Cameron and McGrath.
Berry's kick. Loman in the front spot. Raider at the back. They both couldn't drag it in. Setterfield, McGrath, Caldwell combined. And there's Johnson. Kick outside 50. Hoping for Day Wicks. His opposite number, Wilmot's got him. They go to ground. Daywick's good work, the 19-year-old. Ball it up.
Yes, it's an important time for Essendon just to remain in this game. Brisbane throwing everything at them, just got to make sure they remain calm and composed behind the ball.
Caldwell, right. Skied by Johnson. Andrews and Payne almost upset each other. Gresham with the crumbs. Composes himself. Kicks towards the corridor. Caldwell worried out of it by McCluggage. 2-metre Peter came through. Bobbles about. Ricochets around. Holding the football to Caldwell. So again they press the Bombers.
It's a risky kick by Gresham coming through there. Lucky in the end, they've got this back.
Ducks it out to the outer side. Johnson, you get a free kick, front on contact. Archie, he feels it to the debutant. Plays on in the bright boot, slides it to Hobbs. Marks tight on the line.
They're trying to challenge Brisbane on the other side of the centre square, haven't they? From one side to the other. But importantly, they've kept the ball moving forward, Jack.
Now, I reckon that's Essendon at their worst when they're going backwards. Just that even the short and longer kicks still need to have some element of going forward, because that's the way you can draw that Brisbane defence up and get around them and get marks inside 50 like Ben Hobbs has taken.
Started sucking the dream time. Starts on the ground tonight. Measures it. Gee, it's well weighted. Setterfield was just in a tiny hole, and he landed in his area and he grasped it nicely.
It's a beauty. He did a small window, and he just hit it perfectly across his body. It was a late look as well. It was wrong-footed all the Brisbane Lions defenders. They weren't ready for that.
Hasn't kicked a goal this season. 2 years at the Giants, 4 at the Blues. Now at the Bombers. Needs to tighten it up to a one-point game. One-goal game. Setterfield from directly in front. The number 12 leans back on it. Eases it home. And Essendon come again.
I love this. I love the creativity. So just wait. Quite often things like this open up. Now, of course, you've got to have great skill execution. I love the kick across the body. It's a really difficult kick to nail. But this is off and on. We don't often see this kick, the aggressiveness of this kick. Right under Ben Hobbs for having a crack at it. And that's what they've done this quarter. They've had a crack at stuff. They've changed angles. The Brisbane Lions haven't been able to get set all over the field defensively, Jack. And this
and you can see Lockie Neal, he got drawn into Isaac Kako. So Brisbane asleep behind the ball, just thinking that Ben Hobbs is going to have a set shot. There's a lot of pointing happening in the Brisbane backline at the moment, saying, that's your man, you should be on him. You can see Answorth's the one, he's the top of the goal square, hasn't got a man at the moment, and it's Setterfield.
Big moment for Will Setterfield. Injuries keeping him to 14 games in the first 2 seasons. The Bombers. Roberts. What a long kick it is to the top of the square. Over Caddy's head. Gresham's the first in the foot race. Kept it in play. Caddy's there round the back. Has he done it? I reckon he has. It's a miraculous goal from the young man. And we're all square at the Gabba. A Thursday night specking.
How good is that?
What about that?
How good is that, boys?
What's going on here?
He took the big contested mark only about 10 minutes ago, ran into an open goal and missed it. And this ability just to bring it to the contest, and I love this, get forward. As soon as you can't impact, get forward. I don't know whether this is conventional, but we love it.
Doesn't matter.
We absolutely love it from this Bombers young gun. The kick over the head.
They actually flushed it too.
They absolutely flushed it. I think even just the nous to think about doing that at that point in time.
This is brilliant.
This is the arrival of Nate Caddy. This third quarter has been fantastic.
Nate Caddy bringing the sizzle on a Thursday night. Kicks his second. It'll be tough to beat for goal of the week, that one. Free kick, again the way of the Bombers. Get it down to Caddy.
8 scores from 8 entries this quarter, the Bombers. In scintillating form, plus 13 contested, plus 39 disposals.
So they've sent a couple back. Fletcher. Puts it out in front of Levi to Ashcroft. It's a good ball. He can run onto it. Traps it with one hand. And looks to Lone, who's got over that ankle injury. Gives it back to Levi.
So his third disposal this quarter, Levi, and his brother is coming up for disposal number 5. Lockie Neal has only had 3, Dunkley 2. Just cannot get their hands on the ball at the moment, Brisbane Lions. Zach Bailey hasn't had a touch.
5 goal to 1 turn. dominated this game on the scoreboard. Essendon up giving up 5 of the first 6. Caddy again. Dave Wicks does well to progress it. They've turned it over though. Here come the Lions through Lockie Neal. It's a good ball forward. And Lyman marks on his chest. Well weighted from Lockie Neal.
Take breath out, Lions. Lyman needs to go back, take his full 30. Desperate need of a goal. Beautiful kick.
8 of the last 10 goals they've kicked Essendon after trailing by 32 points at quarter time. Newman kicked his first goal of the season at the end of the first term. Scores level at the Gabba. Brisbane under pressure. Lost here to Melbourne. Grand final hero, number 1, Lyman. Any score will give him the lead. And he takes the major result. Points to the crowd, says, what about that? He's got 2. And they take it back to a 1-goal margin.
Good set up, really important. He understood the moment and to go back. The team really needed it, so get that centre break. Get out there. We haven't seen a hell of a lot of this really since quarter time, Jack. Beautiful kick there by Lockie Neal.
See what Archie Roberts was trying to do. Was Archie was out the back. It was often he'd sort of hesitate to go back, but then Loman split him nicely. And I mean, the Brownlow medalist coming out of the middle of the ground, he just looks and looks and looks, and then finds the lead lane. Sees Roberts on the left hand side, on the right hand side. Sorry, Loman puts him back into the perfect spot there, brings him right in, and a great finish by a man who we thought potentially on quarter time was going to be subbed out with another ankle injury.
Fascinating third quarter. Dunkley out to Neal. Kick forward towards Cameron. Over all of their heads. Johnson's the first one there. Hipwood could have got him high. Ball says the crowd. Spills loose. Laverty. Redmond. Laverty looking for Clark. Cut off by Caldwell. With some class. Wobbly one. Free kick's going to go to Guelphy.
Cameron down behind play. He's going for that tackle. Hit his head on the ground after going for that tackle.
So gives ground here, Guelphy, all the way back to Laverty. Good to see Cameron back up. So Pryor has it, and Merritt scampering along the wing. Out he goes to Redmond. Little chip to Dersma. They're building again, the Bombers. Dersma's kick right at the back. Got to him, just couldn't quite rake it in. Gresham's there. Caco's picked up the football. He was almost grabbed, hung it out to dry. In fact, he didn't keep it hung out to dry. As the rain starts to tumble, it's out of play.
Oh, Josh Dunkley saved Jack Payne there. So this is the incident with Charlie Cameron. Just a bit of whiplash there as he came through trying to put the pressure on. But it was Dunkley who saved Cameron out on Peter Wright, came in as the third man up, otherwise Peter Wright would have swallowed that.
Nate Caddy's on the bench, he's up, he wants to get back up on the ground, he's looking for a rotation out there. Dersma's out stripped.
Lynchy might know the poncho too. Is it raining out there, Lynchy?
Yeah, that's why. Notice he didn't come down at half time. It is raining again. But you can feel the excitement amongst this young Essendon team. They're so dominant in the stoppages, and that, once again, another example of their run and spread from a contest.
Caddy still can't get on the ground over the outer side. Archie gets away from Clark. Measures it. Ashcroft one-handed. Peter Wright two-hand picks it up. Scissors the ball forward. But Payne is there. Immediately plays on to Dunkley. This is better. Now Bailey drives it forward. Danger here for the Bombers. McCluggage has got runners everywhere forward of him. And Eric, who's had a tough night, gets off the chain from Redmond. And Hipwood will line up.
That's what they do though, Brisbane. They play in spurts. The good teams are really good at playing in spurts, and they're being challenged at the moment by a team that they would come into tonight thinking they win. It was the turnover from Peter Wright here. Just had the chance to get the handball, didn't need to take the kick there. And we know they're awesome at scoring from turnover, Brisbane, especially from half back, and they brought it right into the middle there and shot through there. And Eric Hipwood finds himself having a shot.
Game 189 going for goal 283. Still Caddy's on the bench. Hipwood. Beautiful looking kick off the boot. And Brisbane answer with a couple.
They've responded. Good accurate goal kicking. It's pretty ordinary there in the second quarter, but they've responded here in the last few minutes. back and makes the most of his opportunity. Just a couple of settlers now for the Lions. Starting to get some centre clearance as well. Good turnover there by Jack Payne. He quickly went back in the centre corridor where he knew the Lions would have numbers. Quite often they attack this way on a fast transition off half back. They get spares in the back.
Great speed by Zach Bailey. Off half back was mentioned a few minutes ago that he hadn't had a touch. That's his first disposal in this quarter. Just the work rate to get past the end of the mark. Even just Caldwell has to come off to go to him. Opens the lead lane up to Stephen a little bit more. Makes it a really easy kick. Doesn't have to kick over the man on the mark. Easy find inside 50.
So the Lions steady. Fort won it down. Dunkley flicked it out to Neil, as he loves to do. But Caldwell was able to win the football. He's been very good. Shallow entry inside 50. Right court at the back. Through the fingertips of Gresham. Ball to be won. Fletcher's there. Holds onto it. And he's happy to keep it in as the umpire wants it.
It's ball there by Wright. Just got to do everything you possibly can. Get that.
Andrews back on caddy there, which is interesting. Gresham. Ball still to be won here. Zorko hacks it out. It's good enough. Berry. He's got a couple running for him. McCluggage is one of them. Hipwood producing a lead on the outer side as that rain continues to tumble.
Can't give up a goal here, Essendon.
Brisbane pressing. 20 seconds on the clock. Big pack of players.
He's gone behind the ball for Brisbane, so Chris Fagan's seen enough. Thinks that 12 points is enough at three-quarter time on full defensive mode.
Rain as heavy as it's been all night, will not. Brisbane by 32 at quarter time, 26. At half-time, it's narrowed to a 12-point margin.
Joe Caldwell's had 16 disposals this quarter. It's been fantastic. 7 clearances as well.
Yeah, 2. 4. Just bashes it forward. There is Caldwell. Big quarter of that from Essendon. Nate Caddy absolutely lit it up. Kicked one of the goals of the season over his head, did Nate. We'll see that after the break. After Brisbane led by 26 at the major break, it's a 5-goal to 3 term the way of Essendon. It was all square, but Brisbane did kick the last 2. Tomorrow night, the Hawks, coming off 2 losses, they take on the Red Hot Pies, who have got a host of stars back. You'll see it right here on your home of footy, Nibs.
Alrighty, it is three-quarter time. It's the Lions by 12 points, 10-10-70. The Bombers 9-4-58. Of course, the Bombers putting on 5 goals, 3 in that third term. Lions getting a late couple there, putting on 3 goals. I want to tell you what, that's better from the Bombers. Like we were saying at half-time, they need to bring their speed and lift their pressure rate. They certainly did that. They lifted their pressure and they banged on a few goals in that third term. I'll tell you what, Caddy, he certainly did put Essendon alight there with one of the goals of the round. Could be one of the goals of the season. Tell you what, running away from goal and put on his boot and it went back over his head. Tell you what, that's an absolute crack if you get to see that one. Manuel, go Bombers. I know we want the Bombers to win now because that'll leave the Pies on top. As I said, a lot better quarter there from the Bombers though, putting the pressure on. They definitely looked the more dangerous side in there, but just late, Brisbane Lions, because they were pretty much in cruise mode. They started to open the Bombers up again, getting out of their back line and getting it down there with ease. But I tell you what, we're in for a cracking final term here. Of course, the rain coming down now at the Gabba. And of course, the Essendon Bombers, they'll be giving themselves good belief now coming into this final term. Only 2 goals behind, of course, winning the second and third term with the Bombers. It was just that, tell you what, that opening term from the Lions that absolutely spanked the Bombers, but the Bombers have been back in this game and back in it big time. Of course, they got back to within even 58 points apiece. Of course, the Lions kicking the last 2 goals. Let's just have a look at the goal scorers up until three-quarter time. All right, we've got a few more and a few more multiples. For the Bombers, of course, Peter Wright's got 2 with Nick Martin, Nat Caddy, all with 2. Will Settlefield's got 1. Sam Duran and Jai Caldwell with 1 for the Lions. Kyle Oman, the only multiple goal scorer there for Brisbane. Darcy Wilmot, Rayner, Morris, Hipwood, Gardner, Fletcher, Cameron, Archie, the singles. And there we go. The ball magnets, there we go. Hugh McCluggage, well, he's starting to rack them up now. He leads the way, equal on top with 29. 15 kicks, 14 handballs, 9 marks, 4 tackles, 3 clearances. Jai Caldwell, though, having a good game there for the Bombers with 29, 15, 14, 4 marks, 5 tackles, 10 clearances. Wow, 10 clearances. He's having a cracker. He's kicked a sausage roll as well. Of course, Nick Martin not far behind him on 25 and 2 goals, 4 clearances, going absolutely fantastic. Jared Berry, well, he was a little bit quiet. He was leading the way up at half-time. He's a little bit quieter in that third term with 22. Lockie Neal just an 18, doing his business. Zorko up to 16, a little bit better the second and third term. Let's just roll down the stats because we're going to get back to the commentators in a minute. Tell you what, we are in for a ring-a-ding-ding. Final quarter here. Oh, who's going to win it? Who is going to win it? I tell you what, I'm going to have a look at the poll in a moment to see who is most favoured to win this game by the poll. We just had a Thursday night specky. You got to love the Thursday night speckies and that goal. All right, let's just put it back on there. Let's just have a look at the poll. At the moment, the poll, hey, don't forget, vote who you think's going to win this game. We've got Brisbane Lions sitting on 63% of the people in the chat. The clever people in the chat, we normally do pretty well on this. 63% say the Lions, 37% say the Bombers. Tell you what, look, I think we all think the Lions will win this game, but I tell you what, folks, do me a favour, let's cheer on the Bombers to get up in this game. Let's cheer on the Bombers. If the Bombers win, they'll be in the top 8. If the Lions win, the Lions will go top of the ladder. 3E, B3, here you go, Lions to win by 40 plus. You reckon they're going to absolutely come out and crunch Essendon? I tell you what, the Bombers, they give it their best shot in that third term, but as I keep on saying throughout the coverage, Brisbane Lions look to be in cruise control in this game. And of course, it sort of showed late in that third term when the Bombers got back to 58 apiece. The Lions just lifted their game a little bit and kicked those couple late goals in that third term to put them back out to 12 points. So, look, it'll be interesting. Can the Lions, the Bombers need to keep doing what they're doing in that third term. They need to absolutely put some pressure on and run on the ball. That being said, I think the Lions really need to start and lift their intensity about this game and put a little bit more pressure on the Bombers instead of taking it too easy, even in cruise mode. I think just the talent of Brisbane is certainly doing it. Hipwood for 2 this quarter. All right, we'll let's keep an eye on that one. See if Hipwood can get 2 in this quarter. It'll be interesting. And I think he's already got 1. I think he kicked 1 late in this third term. There we go. He kicked the final goal of that third term, Eric Hipwood. All right, that's enough for me. Hey, we're in for a cracking final term here. Let's head back down to the ground. Who's going to win it? Is it the Lions or the Bombers? Well, it's the Lions by 12 points.
First centre bounce for this last quarter here. Clearly Fagan sees Caldwell's got off the chain, sends his best stopper to him.
That light rain continuing to fall. It's 12 at three-quarter time after it was 32 at quarter time and 26 at half-time. The Cluggage over the top of it. Here's Guelphy, traps it between the legs. Perkins, Martin, Goldstein, looking back for Perkins, momentarily intercept, Gresham round the corner. Is it the first goal? It is the first goal, and it's only taken 22 seconds.
Well, territory's going to be really important because that rain is coming down there, so these set of clearances are all important. They've been very good. That third quarter, Essendon started to let the quarter off well, and he liked it. As soon as he hit it, he was very hopeful. The umpire didn't move much. That's a great snap.
He's had a couple fall short tonight. Jay Gresham. This is a really good snap in the wet too. just got it around and got it going nicely. Wasn't spinning a lot the ball, so it actually gets a little bit more distance on the snap there. But Essendon have got to make the most of their opportunities when they go inside 50. And that there is a very early score after the Lions kicked the last 2 goals of the third quarter. Critical that Essendon got that first one. And the margin back to 6 points. A solitary goal here. Essendon right in this.
Third from a centre bounce goal and 8 of 10 from stoppage goals for the Bombers. McCluggage drags out of the middle. Danger here. Morris. Redmond got a really important hand in. He's got to be good here again. Redmond by hand. And now Essendon sending it out towards the flank in the blink of an eye to Caddy, the electric one. What's he going to do? He's going to try and take on Harris. He pretty much does in the end. Drives it deep. Only problem is he's not there to try and mark it, but a big fly from behind. Guelphy steps through a bit of traffic. Here they come again. Durham has stuck it out with that ankle issue. Floats it across to right. Coming back though. He's Big Goldie.
Good that man, Nate Caddy involved again. This has been a great to watch. Might get his haircut. I might get his haircut, I reckon. Don't have the dusty haircut. I think we get the peroxide out tomorrow. Yeah, it wasn't a good look, but he can pull it off, especially when he's playing like this. The way they've been able to move it off half back again was very good. They've changed angles. Sam Durham, he stayed out there and he's been important. Just squares it up nicely to the old boy.
Goldstein, big kick this. Massive kick. Pumps the boys up. Essendon come again. Opening first 2 on the turn. Whack, whack. All tied up at the Gabba.
The load's fallen on Todd Goldstein, I think, basically through injury this year. But this from Nate Caddy, he is leading Harris Andrews to the ball with the confidence of the young kid to go around the All-Australian centre half-back, the premiership captain, and then to jam it inside 50. Sam Durham has been fantastic since resting forward with a small injury here, and I love this. Great vision. It's a sign of a really composed player, can see something off the line, and Todd Goldstein's rolled forward nicely. He's always been a lovely kick, Todd Goldstein, on that left, and that is a critical goal. And we get back to scores level, but it's all on the back of this young superstar, this young champion of the Essendon Football Club, Nate Caddy.
Goldstein with the fist only as far as McCluggage. Dunkley happy just to throw it on the boot. Skies it. Will bring more rain. Johnson couldn't mark it. Caldwell dispossessed. On the ground fought. Scoops it forward. Kako tried to trap it with one hand. Couldn't quite do so. Out it went to Will Ashcroft. Throws it on the boot. Dumped it on the boot. No mark Dunkley. Coming through with Will Ashcroft. Got his own work. Hipwood with the fumble. Taps it to the advantage of Archie. Roberts is trying to worry him out of it. Archie picked it up. Got it to Dunkley. That rain just is not helping things at the moment. Kako out to Redmond. And he spears it along the wing. Kept it in. And it's in the hands of the big man. Peter Wright, who's kicked 2 tonight.
Got a mismatch down the line with Todd Goldstein or Jasper Fletcher.
Caddy's in the area, one knock kick to him. Makes strong contest to whirl to the footy. Leicester shrugs the tackle, now forced to kick under pressure. Goes to Johnson, back by hand. Essendon pressing, Merritt pulls the trigger on an aggressive ball. Slightly overcooks it, Martin coming the other way. Is Berry, big contest in the middle. Martin wins it. Now they go through Hobbs. That was a big contest. Martin involved. Hobbs spreads it out wide. Gresham wants to play on. Sends it deep. Here comes Caddy from behind. All eyes on the bombshell. Brisbane drive it out of defence. Caldwell spills the mark. Still they can't. Looking for a high and not paid. But your eyes are just attracted to Caddy.
It is paid.
It is paid.
Not officiating umpire in the middle of the ground.
It's a right call too. A little tight.
Good work in the middle of the ground in the initial one-on-one ball. There's the high.
Well paid by the central umpire. Probably 15 metres away.
Yeah, definitely that.
Essendon have not led all night. Hobbs, the score will give them the lead. To make it 3, to open the final turn. And he doesn't manage to take the lead, just wobbles it forward. Only as far as Ford, who thinks about playing on.
I like to get that kick and compare it to his one in the third quarter. He set up Setterfield.
So Brisbane in front of their dugout. Punched away. Redmond like a man possessed over
Closed
Fletcher.
out those marks, haven't they, Matty, there? You know, just we didn't see that in the first half, especially early in the game. But this time, desperate just to close out those marks, not allowing anything easy for the Brisbane Lions.
They've been ferocious since the start of the second half. Made it a real contest here at the Gabba. Goldstein down to Caldwell, who just fossics around. Another ball up.
Some of the attention there from Josh Dunkley.
And there's Devon Robertson, who's the sub for the Lions. Further afield, Zorko, as they give ground. Oh, he's almost kicked it straight down the throat of Clark. Cameron came intercepted. Fletcher with work to do. Zorko off a step, not good enough. Clark, Martin, Roberts, little chip towards Peter Wright.
That was all forward pressure led by the big bucks. Peter Wright was involved there, Nate Caddy was involved there. Just great to see. We've really seen this since half-time. There's been a ramp up in pressure, Jack.
You can see the panic. Dane Zorko doesn't take the ball, throws it on the foot sort of really dangerously, and it comes out. It's a forward half turnover. Peter Wright was the only option there. Got in behind Harris Andrews, came back up, and a super strong mark in wet conditions.
So Wright comes in from right on the 50. It's going to sit up right on the line and diffused by Fort.
They're in front. They are in front, the Bombers.
First time for the night. Wilmot shorts it out of defence. Zorko does the same. They get it outside D50. Levi Ashcroft.
This looks so much more dynamic on defence here, Essendon. Looking to make a turnover, get a hand in.
For the last 6, trailed by 2 goals at three-quarter time. They trailed by 32 at quarter time, Essendon, 26 at half time, 12 at three-quarter time. Now they're up for the first time by a point.
Even then, just Brisbane trying to bring out defence. They're in the game, they're up, we just chip the ball around. Another ball's a little bit wet, but Essendon just taking away those uncontested options.
Caddy's at centre-half forward, Wright's on the flank. Ashcroft boys combine. Senior to junior, Laverde takes a strong mark in front of Hipwood.
Yeah, he's been a very good job, Laverde. Good match up with Hipwood.
Wants to go immediately by hands, McGrath. Down the line ball, Brisbane have got the numbers in the air. They spoil each other. Groan from the crowd.
It's the little things like that that start to happen in a well-drilled side. Bit of panic comes in.
Neil does some heavy lifting. Got it out of the pack. Dunkley helps it along. Lohman runs hard. Penetrating ball towards full forward. Archie's in the wrong spot, backing back. Defensive fist is going to be good enough and out of play.
That's as good as a kick there from Jackson Pride. Going back one-on-one with the next teammate. A big game player in Archie. Just did the fundamentals. Didn't go the mark. Knew that a soft drop would bring Archie in. Just went the fist. Cleared the area, 30 metres.
2 goals for Lohman, and some time on the pine with some injury concerns. Fort won it down. Clark, who's worked hard. Will Ashcroft, snap round the body. Morris did well, kept his feet, kept the ball, and puts them back in front of the young man. Logan Morris with 2.
Well, we've got 2 young stars at either end. We saw this man on show last year. He played a very important role in their premiership in his first season. Second year's continued up that trajectory, and fortunate enough for that. Nate Caddy at the other end as well. Just going goal for goal here at the moment. Just clever. So the Lions haven't been able to score as well from stoppages today, but this time they get their job done in that part of the ground.
Yeah, it's so exciting, isn't it, to see a couple of young superstar forwards impact the game. That there from Logan Morris. Keep your feet. It's one of the fundamentals of footy. You teach it at an early age, just to keep your feet. Redmond goes to ground. And you might notice in there, the sub has been made. Sarnas goes into the midfield for Essendon. And looks like first game Zach Johnson subbed out.
Starts to Lynch, so Brisbane regain the lead. And they'll get a bit of momentum out of the middle. Hipwood plays on, doesn't mess around, drives the ball deep. Gardner's eased underneath it. Bailey Ferocious contest, 30 out from Brisbane's goal. Rainey uses the body arch. He's in a dangerous area. Ashcroft clean, gets away from one. Lohman, bending ball, attacking at Redmond, bounces straight off his chest. Needs to be good at ground level. Is McGrath, nice little step. Sends it in a hurry to the outer side. Day Wicks takes it in front of Answorth. Something here for Essendon. Archer Day Wicks, the number 44.
He's something they can build on. Third gamer.
He's done some nice things. Mason Redmond's been pretty solid tonight.
High ball down the flank, straight to the wall. It's Harris Andrews.
Peter Wright's got to be better there. Just let Andrews lead him over 20 metres in front of him the whole way, and Andrews was always going to swallow that.
Will Ashcroft. Wilmot.
There's no caddies on the bench at the moment, so Peter Wright carrying the load there.
Levi Ashcroft on his own on the flank. It's a lead from McCluggage. 31 disposals for Hugh. 16 kicks. Further forward in the Gardner direction. Pryor. Cross half back to Merritt, who has to be fast. Spots a man, Kako. Kako. Look at the pace. Has a bounce. Looks corridor again. Sits it up for Guelphy. Waits for a few teammates. Gives it to Sardis on the ground. Spreads it wide towards Roberts. Gives them another chance.
Perfect patience by Kako. Just waited for Guelphy to open up. It was denying Dane Zorko throughout the night. Zorko's had 19 touches, but then it really opened up ahead.
I think Zach Merritt was the one that set this all up. You speak about Kako, just a little shift in movement here. Guelphy was the one who just stopped. He knew that they were playing fast at the moment. And when it goes fast, what will happen is the fat side of the ground will open up. So when they took off, every single one of those fat side players went too.
Big moment for another one of the young players for Essendon, and it's across the face. Back to 4.
And Brisbane have gone with their sub, Devin Robinson, into the game. Levi Ashcroft, a tactical sub out.
Fletcher takes ground. It's the sub. And she just mentioned Robinson. Devon, short, effective in the end, back to Fletcher.
The big challenge for the young Essendon team. Can they run out this quarter and keep pressuring the Brisbane Lions?
This will be an enormous win for them, Jack. 5 goals down at quarter time. Injuries against the Premiers away from home. If they can snag one here, it's a huge win for the Bombers. A long way to go, though.
It's the biggest upset of the year. Probably really go past Richmond's against Carlton in opening round.
Rain, a squaring ball to a dangerous area. Berry brings it to ground. Hobbs ridden into the ground by Gardner. Spills free. A lot of players around the footy. Out of nothing was Ashcroft. Just missed the target.
And the class comes to the top when the conditions get wet. The pick up there from Ashcroft, incredible. Just the ability to get it up and get a small dinky kick.
So Redmond's kick out to Durham. This will test the ankle. And the end beaten to the punch by Payne.
See what Durham was trying to do there, just sort of turn Jack Payne. Used the body to protect the ball, which wasn't clean. Unfortunately, had a panic in front of him if he was able to break that contest.
You'll both be happy, caddy back on the ground.
Yeah.
Nice. Don't want to stay at this end, Durham. Under duress.
So Wright wins it. McCluggage has a bit of time. Wobbles one, centering ball. Morris, who is standing up as well in this last quarter.
Inside 50s from McCluggage. Just not sure it's the smartest thing to let him run around his own. It's just too damaging in the front half of the ground. He's had a fantastic season. Fantastic last week against Hawthorn. Great vision inside 50 to find Logan Morris.
So Morris with the set shot. He's kicked 2-2. 9 disposals all night. From about 40. And stabs at it and missed.
33 disposals for McCluggage. 4 times nominated for the All-Australian team. Brownie yet to get the nod.
If he picked it now, he'd be in it. He'd definitely be in it. So it's just a matter of whether he can retain that form for the rest of the season.
1 goal lead to the Bombers. To a contest. Berry Caddy provides the fist. He's providing a lot at the moment. Durham takes on Rayno, which is a tough ask, but he gets a high free. Caddy starts streaking back towards centre half forward. Redmond, where not much is ahead of the footy, spreads it out wide to his skipper. He wants to go into the middle. Big kick this centre field. Dunkley provides the fist. Problems here. They could split them open the other way. Lohman sends it long. Lohman sends it straight. There's Lohman. Ty's got 3. Turnover. They hurt you to the Lions.
He's gone from zip to 3 tonight. Don't you love the confidence? He'd only just left his boot and he turned to the crowd. Started heading in the crowd direction. He knew. Good kick there after Logan Morrison missed a set shot. His energy's been fantastic the last fortnight. Good effort there by Dunkley just to come forward. Dangerous kick.
They live and die by the sword of half-back sometimes, and Zach Merritt, unfortunately, turns the ball over in possibly the worst spot on the ground, trying to be aggressive, and it looks like Kyler was running off to the bench. He's high-five Chris Fagan.
Rotation here. There we go.
That's a critical turnover, though.
Xiaomi.
So Ashcroft in the centre, throws his boot into it, front and centre Merritt, scrambled it to Roberts. Hobbs, so the real test on the Bombers now. Kick towards the wing, Zorko fighting for it. Fletcher dropped it, Martin grabbed it, he chucked it out towards Caddy. Caddy's got a boot to it, it just wobbles towards the boundary line and it's still in play. Kept in by Sarvis. Martin, Hobbs, Perkins kick, smothered off the boot by Neal. And then he tried to get it to Robertson, who was grabbed. Hot potato at the moment. It's a slippery pill. Wilmot can't pick it up. They hatch over the top, ball it up.
I reckon Nick Martin did one of the great rugby league passes here. Yep, that is a throw. I think Origin was last night, but he's just, and that's out as well. So a couple of interesting moves there.
Great moment there, Phillips.
McCluggage. Leicester throws it on the boot. Merritt tapped it down to Roberts. That was clever. Little 360 down step kick towards Caddy. Caddy's got a second chance here. Durham's there for help. Defenders are onto it though. Ainsworth then just chucks it on the boot outside 50 again.
Morris Flyers can't quite bring it to ground. Merritt driving his team forward. Sardis, centre field. Kicks under pressure towards Caddy. Can't miss him up forward. Gresham ripped off the footy. Umpire says play on. Hobbs goes into wrestle mode. And just going in to get the ball mode is Rayner and the Lions. They spread it out to the flank. McCluggage coming up to disposal. 36 for Hugh. Now to Gardner. Clogged up in the middle of the Gabba. Zorko concedes to Answorth. And he switches on to the skipper. Fletcher runs hard to receive the footy. Now Berry, so they've patiently moved it to the outer wing. The short chipping game of Brisbane. Will Ashcroft. Another Levi subbed out, tactical. Plays on around Perkins. Sends it towards Loam and he's way underneath the footy. Lands into a dangerous area though. Gardner works hard at ground level. Clark needs to get rid of it. Just got hands to it, just. And just is enough. And Wright legs it through Martin.
Again, Archie Roberts in that third quarter spread to the open side. They just haven't got the runners at the moment to get to that open side, the Bombers, to help their transition. That's why they're having to slow down.
Perkins to a 50-50. Cobbs went the fist. Leicester let it go. Ricochets out.
They are young, so you would expect them to tire with only 5 minutes to go. What's been a really trying game in trying conditions. So it's Nick Martin and Zach Merritt. Zach Merritt playing at half back at the moment. Maybe the time is to roll him, just get him up around the contest, play a bit of risks.
Right, down to Perkins. Off a step. Durham outbodied Leicester.
He's a key forward for most of the night. Durham. 13 before.
Touches for Leicester, and that kick to no one, and out of bounds.
With the Essendon faithful have made their trip up to the Gabba here. I live in Queensland. Pretty keen on that one being insufficient intent. A lot of taller stadium down if they pay that one.
It's a tired, fatigued kick. I was hoping for Berry, who was a long way off it. So you get the impression with 5 to go that Bombers have to make something of this if there to be a chance. Fort won it down. Durham scrambles it out. And a hard football to win. It was Fagan giving the Hubba Bubba a real working out. Right. Tries to go himself. It's going to be a holding the ball, and it's going to Will Ashcroft, who's had a night himself with 27 touches.
So good last few minutes too.
Probably afford to possess the ball for a while here, Brisbane. Takes the outer side as the option. Hipwood. Another one from McCluggage. Lohman had a good second half.
Well, Caldwell had 18 disposals in that third quarter. He's only had 2. So we know that Dunkley is the #1 stopper in the game. Gone to the hot hand in Jai Caldwell. He's held him to 2 possessions in this last quarter.
Goldstein. Sardis goes off the ground. Works out. Welfie on the stretch. Wicks tried to move it on. Umpire wasn't having that. Fair enough too. They've Welfie in the middle of the Gabba. They need to get moving here. They've been fantastic, Essendon. Have they got a last move or 2 forward? Darham's caught immediately. Claimed the mark. Umpire said,
And they need a couple of moments of brilliance here, Essendon.
Brisbane 12 points to the good. Essendon pressing. Snapped out of defence. Rayner. Looked for Archie. Overran it. Brought Dersman down as he was trying to track back and get the football. Redmond sees the line.
The fundamentals are still so important here. You don't need to get trying to do anything too grand. You just got to do the fundamentals. So one is just getting the ball inside 50, giving yourself an opportunity to score.
So the final 4 minutes, this round 12 Thursday night encounter. And we've been entertained. Setterfield, Sartis, Redmond. Threads the needle. Looks further afield. Now Caddy's going to set himself. It was too hot for him. Payne with the double fister. Progressed at 30 metres. Back to Goldstein. Dersma, Setterfield. Hurry kick. It's come off by Zorko, who's been the general at halfback as he always is. Switches play. Out to Bailey. And down the throat of Berry. Crowd 150. Umpire says, I don't think so.
Just haven't been able to get their deeper entries the last few moments. Essendon.
Robertson, in fact.
Just to challenge the Brisbane defenders.
I reckon they've missed handballs too, Brandon, sort of centre forward. That's how you generate those deeper entries.
Bailey, Payne. Into the middle. Dunkley. Neil overruns it. Still able to gather though. Hipwood. Dispossessed. McCluggage. Robertson with some fresh legs. He goes out. Ainsworth blazing away. Is that the knockout blow? Yes, it is. 3 goals to margin with less than 3 to play. And it was Noah Ainsworth's first goal of the year that may have put pay to it.
Yeah, fantastic. He's played an important role. He's been on cut-out stages, pressure stages, but just finds the play down there, which quite often we see from the smaller backs of the lines. Great effort there, and he was pretty confident as soon as he hit it. He's out there on his own for a while. Just a matter of flicking that handball out to him. He hit it well. I've had to work hard for this.
How could this pick up from Hugh McCluggage? Thanks for coming one hand. Just didn't even go to the other hand. Up and just handballed it out. That is just one of the great players of this competition in form, in really difficult conditions. I mean, he's got the best ground level play nearly ever, Lockie Neal to work with. I saw a Lockie Neal fumbling there. I'll have to take a photo of that one because you don't see many of those.
First goal of the season for Ainsworth, so they respond after Essendon hit the front through the Goldstein major. Since then, Morris, Lohman and Ainsworth have answered to take it back out to a comfortable 3-goal margin. What a fantastic Thursday night match, this one. Goldstein and Fort in the closing stages. Need everything to go right here, the Bombers. 2.5 on the clock. High ball in the rain. Bailey, Hobbs. Bailey, Setterfield gets him eventually. Oh, paid a trip. He's been fantastic to do a serious job on Caldwell, who had 18 in the third alone. Morris showed some real promise tonight as Logan chips it. Roberts has been really good, takes a strong defensive mark. He's been fantastic to Merritt.
So Merritt goes corridor, Setterfield is going to be dangerous here, Neal, and then Fort sends it back up the line. Big fists, out it goes 25 metres or so. Ainsworth, Merritt along hands and knees. Ainsworth again, kept his legs, out towards Neal, beaten to the punch by Roberts. Merritt, too hot for Dersma, who fumbles. He tried to take it to ground. McCluggage, it's a real hot potato again here in these conditions. So McCluggage eventually, with a bit of room, to Will Ashcroft. Could have centred it, goes the pocket, goes towards the tall timbers, off hands, Redmond, McGrath. Redmond, he's taken in a tackle. Hipwood to the advantage of Rayner, who then thought he had a teammate there, but it was Hobbs, and it's going to be a ball out.
So it'll be interesting to see what both sides take from this game tonight. Essendon obviously a valiant performance after being hit between the eyes early on, and I think Chris Fagan will be slightly disappointed with the Lions tonight, Brownie.
Goldstein, and a massive pack of players, McGrath. They look to clear their defensive zone, the Bombers. They kicked to Guelphy.
Huge amount of positives for the Bombers tonight, huge.
Walls it into no man's land. In the middle of the Gabba.
Pushing it back, Brisbane.
Going down hard with Ainsworth, who's had a lot of the footy in the last 10 minutes, including a major.
They celebrate the wins. The Lions celebrate the winners. Oh, that one there for Darren.
Free chiropractor work there.
Hit the right bloke, though. It's tough. Ainsworth.
Cluggy's up to 41 disposals. Martin leads the Bombers with 29.
That's on fire. Stand. That's on fire, player.
For Hipwood. Bombers fans cheered on their side tonight. Brisbane fans starting to relax now. Rayner punches it down towards Hobbs. Neal flicks out the back. Hobbs goes again. Now to Caldwell. That massive third turn. Out to Roberts, who's had a big second half. Siren comes. The Cluggage and the Lions get over the top of a valiant Essendon by 3 goals on a wonderful night. The footy of the Gabba.
Song in the end. It was a grinding victory, wasn't it? Not a positive takeaway for Essendon, no question there. You would not have given, not a person in Australia would have given them a hope at quarter time. So the way they fought back, especially after half time, they started to get on top of the contest in the second quarter, but then started to move the ball beautifully in that third quarter. But the Lions, it's why they're the premiers. They're on just to settle, just to hang on and then kick those last couple of goals to keep clear of the Bombers. Want to end up a good game of footy on a Thursday night.
Yeah, it's signs of a blowout early on, but I think Chris Fagan would be. I think he'd be really disappointed about the Lions tonight. And they get the points and they roll on. I think Brad Scott would be absolutely thrilled with what his young Bombers have done tonight. Obviously, injury depleted. You see their young star on screen there, Nate Caddy. He was fantastic. Caldwell on screen too. 18 touches in the third quarter was ignited. Their captain was fantastic again. especially in that last quarter when they were challenged. But this has probably gone the way we thought it would with the Brisbane win. But Essendon would be leaving tonight with their heads held certainly high.
Brisbane 32 at quarter time, 26 at half time, 12-point leads at three-quarter time. Essendon did hit the front for the first time in the final quarter, but Brisbane answered with the final 3 goals. Loman doesn't kick the goal for tonight for the season. He kicked 3, Morris kicked a couple, Caddy kicked a couple, as did Martin. Caddy was a real highlight up forward though. For those that come to watch the big forwards, Brownie, they saw a bit of everything from Nate Caddy tonight.
He's a turnstile clicker, don't worry about that. He'll fill the MCG, he'll fill the Gabba tonight, but he's excited. He might even keep the barbershops busy. With that haircut, he's the new Dusty Martin, just a little bit of peroxide required as well. He's exciting to watch, he's got presence about him. Playing against good defenders in Jack Payne, Harris Andrews, no question about that. So that was great to see. At the end of the day, the Lions, you just got to keep winning. You've got to keep winning. Coming off 5-day break, I thought the way they started the game was brilliant. They were really on. The energy levels were high. They get set now for a huge Friday night game in Adelaide next Friday. It'll be a big one to watch. And then GWS the week after. So a pretty solid run of games the next fortnight for the Brisbane Lions before they get to that bye.
Archie Roberts is in the conversation with right from the start. He was excellent tonight. He's had a great season. I reckon he's gone under the radar a little bit. He's been fantastic in multiple positions too. He started as a back pocket playing last line of defence, which is a really tough position to play. But he's been playing wing. He saw a little bit of him on ball, bit of half back tonight as well. I think he needs to be getting a few more flowers than he's getting at the moment.
Essendon take on Carlton and Geelong in the next 2 weeks. Alistair Lynch is on the ground. Lynchy.
Now we're here with Kai Loman. Kai, looked like a bit of a relief in there to get that win.
Yeah, it was. Credit to them. They come out swinging tonight. And, they're a quality side. They've had a really good start of the year. And yeah, it was good to get the 4 points at the end. But yeah, a little bit nervous in the end.
How was the coach at three-quarter time? Because you probably should have been further in front at half-time, but you looked like he was in the best of moods at three-quarter time.
Yeah, he was. He gave it a little bit to us, but you know, he just said keep playing our way and things will turn. And luckily they did in the end. But yeah, we missed a few shots in the third quarter, and we turned it that quarter, which was nice.
And you'd be pretty happy to hit the scoreboard yourself. It's been one of those years you haven't quite hit the scoreboard, and you've had a few injury concerns as well.
Yeah, it's been a hard year. Obviously, you had a high last year, and then round one ankle, and then the shoulder. So hasn't been the best start, but hopefully things are going to turn now, and it was good to get a few tonight.
So, as you said, got a couple of goals. What about the last one? You sort of a bit of a celebration. Who were you looking at on the dugout? Looked like you were celebrating towards the dugout?
I was just carrying on, if you know. I don't know who I was looking at, but probably Stewie Jew up in the box, I reckon. He was pretty happy.
He was pretty happy with you. Do you work with him, do you?
Yeah, he's awesome. He's come in forward-line coach this year, and you know, he said come in tonight and just play off pressure and use my defence to get in the game and let the instinct come, and he was right. So.
And tell us a little bit about playing in this forward line. You've got so many exciting players. It looks like in any moment you guys can rip the game apart.
Yeah, it's awesome. So many great players, as you said, and you know, playing alongside Charlie and Joe last year, it's just so exciting, and to learn off those blokes every day, and when they hit their straps, when Cam's taking big marks and Charlie's driving up the motorbike, it's exciting, and yeah, it's so much fun down there. Such good lads.
Well done. Great to see you back on the scoreboard, and well done tonight. Good stuff.
Cheers, guys. Thank you.
So Alistair and Kai, 15 disposals, 3 goals straight tonight for Kai.
It was fantastic, and he's important too because he provides energy for the team. Him and Cam Rayner and Zach Bailey, 3 critical players that are up and going and in form. So great to see him kick this 3 tonight and getting over the injury level. I'll tell you the guy that's on fire though for the whole season, Hugh McCluggage.
41 touches.
He's down there with Lynchy.
Oh, thanks, Brownie here with Hugh McCluggage. Just talking about his PB. Did you know you were on that sort of track?
Not really. I noticed I was popping up in a few more short 45s than what I usually do, but nah, you just got your mind on the job and playing every moment there, late. It's all good.
The old fella, he's trying to stand up there. Tell us a little bit about how was the coach three-quarter time. We spoke to Kai. I don't know whether he was paying attention, but would have been addressing the midfield because you look like you got beat up in the midfield there for a while.
Yeah, he had a stern word to us, especially the midfielders. We got smashed around between the arc clearances. I think Caldwell had 17 touches, and yeah, it just wasn't good enough on our behalf. So we know that if we can win the territory and give our forwards a chance, then we're going to score. But we didn't do that in the third, and we did well to bounce back in the last.
Yeah, so you bounce back. So what's that mean? So what did you actually put in place to win that territory game?
It's just playing from a body really, not letting their mids get first access to the ball, backing in our talent when we're playing 1v1. That's really what it all comes down to, and effort, the pressure, getting to the next contest and outnumbering, all those things. They're not hard, but it's a mental thing, and we got back to the last quarter.
So you're sitting up there in the top couple on the ladder. How do you feel you're going? Because there's been big chunks of games where you seem like the team's misfiring, but you've got the wins.
Yeah, I think we're going pretty well. I mean, every team's good in this comp. It's 18 of the best teams in Australia, and every week you're coming up against a really good side, and to be able to get, I think, 8 or 9 wins at the moment at this stage is a fair bit better than what we were at last year. So, we're happy. I think, you can't be at your absolute best all year, and we're working towards it. Last week we were awesome. Tonight we're a bit up and down, but that's what happens.
And your own form, you're in career best form we can see from the outside. How do you feel you're going?
Yeah, probably have been a little bit better this year than past years, but at the same time, I think I'm doing pretty similar things to what I've always done. I pride myself on being a consistent player and turning up week in, week out, and that's what I'm doing this year. Sometimes you get your lick of the ice cream, and sometimes you don't, but I love being out here. That's the main thing.
You keep going this way, you'll get your first little Australian jacket, I would have thought. Tell us about Dunks, Josh Dunkley. Looks like he's just week in, week out here that goes and does a job, or does the offensive things like we saw late in the game then.
Yeah, he's awesome. He's such a team player. He always takes the best mid around the clearance, and I think it was that spoil that he made that ended up in Kai Loman's goal. Things like that. He just does 1 or 2 a week. We have, a trademark act of the week, and he's nearly up on the ball every single week. Absolutely love playing with him. Couldn't speak higher.
Yeah, I could imagine. Absolutely. Well done tonight. Great win and great performance yourself. Well done.
Thanks, Luigi. Thanks, mate.
This is Thursday Night Footy on Fox, brought to you by the new Ranger plug-in hybrid. It wasn't the Brisbane Lions' best footy, but it was good enough to secure the 4 points. They are top of the table, winning tonight over a plucky Bombers side. We're going to deep dive into exactly how the Brisbane Lions did it and how they are travelling at the moment. Jason Dunstall, Davey King and Joey Montagna. What do you make of that one?
A little bit of a scare for the Lions. They got a little wake-up call. They needed to pull out all stops in the end just to see off a very determined Essendon. We've got to give the Bombers credit. It's okay to say Brisbane were below their best and didn't quite play at the level we expected and probably had control of the game early without capitalising on the scoreboard. But in the end, they just kept coming and they made the reigning premiers actually dig deep.
I think all parties leave the Gabba pretty happy. Yeah. I mean, Brad Scott, under-man lineup, 5.5 goals down early, late in the first quarter. I thought, gee, this has got 10 to 12 goals written all over it. And they just found a way, Essendon, to hang in, and then a couple of stars lit up in that third quarter, and away they went. But in the end, I just marvel at some of the younger players for Brisbane. Against the flow, game sliding, and they stand up. He's got so much to work with.
He certainly does, and we'll touch on a few of them in a moment. But it wasn't convincing by Brisbane, let's be honest. I mean, when they were challenged and Essendon bought the heat and got after them, the Brisbane didn't really respond the way that we would expect from the reigning champs. But like has been the case for a lot of the season, except really the Hawthorn game last week, where Fags had told us was their best performance of the year. A lot of these wins have been, they've been able to win because they're better than teams, but they haven't been convincing, and that was the case again.
They're going to need to be switched on the next 3 weeks, Joey.
Yeah.
There's some big tests before they get to the bye.
Yep.
What do you put it down to? I mean, is it just... I don't think it's the premiership. I just think it's almost like they're playing comfortable in patches of games and comfortable in games they're expected to win.
Yeah, I think it feels that way watching them. They go through ebbs and flows in game where they can lift when they need to, but then they go through a little bit of a lull where, maybe they just don't have that, that absolute intent they may have had last year. But I've still got a lot of faith in them. I'm not too concerned yet. They're notching the wins with a lot of room to move. We saw that again. When they do play their best footy, as we've seen, there's not many teams that can go with them, but they're still, I think, in a positive way, a lot of areas they can improve on.
Do you have that, Coach, with the great sides that you were in that played deep in the finals every year? Did you have that lack of motivation in game at times?
Possibly. I think they'll enjoy the challenges that come up over the next 3 weeks.
Yeah.
You like playing the teams that you think are the genuine threats and testing yourself and saying, yep, we've got this, we can get it done when we need to. But you've got to be very careful that you don't drop these sort of games. So they pulled it out. They did enough to get home. they're the ones that you really don't want to drop because they become costly in terms of setting up where you want to finish come finals time.
The season is a marathon. You certainly don't want to be playing your best footy in May. And as you said, Joey, if there's some areas they can address and things they can work on to make sure they are playing their best football come the pointy end of the season.
And they know who they are. They know what they stand for and how they want to play.
All right, folks, there we go. It was Brisbane Lions hanging on tonight in this game. 3 goals. They won by 18 points, 13-12-90. The Bombers 11-6-72. The Lions kicking 3 goals, 2 in that final term. The Bombers 2 goals, 2. The Bombers hitting the front in that final term. But the Lions, they put their foot down. They said, all right, that's enough, boys. Let's get going. That's exactly what they did. The Lions' pressure certainly lifted when it needed to in that final half of the final quarter. But I tell you what, it was a great spectacle. It was a fascinating game. It was a great effort put up by Essendon. As I said, they'll be going away reasonably happy that they actually drove the Lions to, well, nearly a defeat. But they did pretty good. You know what, I thought actually Essendon seemed to handle the ball a lot better when the rain was coming down. Unfortunately, the rain looked like it stopped and then the Lions got back up on top. But fantastic effort by Essendon tonight. Essendon supporters, don't be too disappointed, even though you sit outside of the top 8 now. And of course, the Brisbane Lions, they'll go top of the table after that victory. Let me see if I can actually bring that up. Not good for Collingwood supporters like me, but there we go. There we go. After 12 rounds, well, game 1 of round 12, Brisbane Lions have played 12, won 9, lost 2, drawn 1. They go top of the table on 38 points, 2 points ahead of Collingwood, who play tomorrow night. That should be a fantastic night. Collingwood versus Hawthorn. But there we go. And, of course, Essendon stay down there in 10th position. Played 11, won 6, lost 5, percentage out of the 8. So unfortunately for the Bombers, they didn't get the win tonight, and that'll keep them on the outer of the 8. Let's just duck over and have a look at the goal scorers and stats before we wrap this one up. And don't forget, everyone in the chat tonight, you got the poll right, 63%. We voted for Brisbane to win this game. Well done, everyone in the live chat here. Kai Lohman, though, topped the table on the goal scoring list. He's from Brisbane. He kicked 3 straight. Logan Morris kicked a couple. Darcy Wilmot, Rayner, Hipwood, Garner, Fletcher, Cameron, Ainsworth, Achie. A lot of goal scorers there for Brisbane, all kicking the singles. And, of course, for the Bombers, Peter Wright, Nick Martin, Nate Caddy kicked 2. 2 each. And, of course, Will Settlefield, Gresham, Todd Goldstein, Durham and Caldwell all bobbed up with 1 each for the Bombers. Well, have a look at this. If you don't mind umpire, Hugh McCluggage, don't forget your luggage, probably BOG, they'll give him 41 disposals. That's right, folks, you heard it, 41 disposals. Tell you what, he was 11 clear of the next best. 41 disposals, 20 kicks, 21 handballs, 11 marks, 4 tackles, 7 clearances, and a behind. The only thing he didn't get was a sausage roll, a big goal between the sticks. But tell you what, that's some huge numbers. Jai Caldwell, next best, and best for the Bombers on 30 with 10 clearances, kicking a goal. Fantastic effort. Will Ashcroft on 30 also. They're the only 3 players above and on 30 disposals as we roll on down. Nick Martin was good. Zach Merritt, not too bad for the Bombers, 29-28. Lockie Neal, well, he was just having a bit of a nice leisurely run around with his 26. Jared Berry ended up with 25, leading at half-time. We'll just roll on down. Dunkley on 20, and it's worth on 19. Peter Wright, not too bad for the Bombers there, 15 disposals, 10 kicks, 7 hitouts, a clearance, 2 goals, 1 for him, so not too bad. Kai Lohman, good effort from him tonight for the Brisbane Lions, 15 disposals, 13 kicks, 2 handballs, 5 marks, 3 tackles, a clearance, 3 straight goals. Well done to him as well. Let's keep on rolling down. Eric Hipwood, there we go, 3B, I think, said he kicked 2 in the final. He didn't kick any in the final. He just ended up with his single goal off his 12 disposals, 7 kicks, 1 goal for Eric Hipwood. That's what he ended up with. Angus Clark, there we go, just 11 for the Bombers. Nate Caddy was pretty good. I tell you what, he's pretty exciting and kicked definitely the goal of the round so far. 10 disposals, 8 kicks, 2 goals, 1. Good stuff, Nate Caddy. Oh, there we go. See, Essendon actually brought it back. They were very competitive the final 3 quarters. Ended up, 40, 30, 38 disposals plus to the line, so that was really good. Well done. Bombers getting back. Inside 50s lifted a bit, the Bombers. 43 inside 50s for 17 scoring shots. Brisbane Lions, 62 inside 50s for 25 scoring shots. They had plenty of inside 50s. Free kicks, 17, 14, only 3 the difference. There's only probably one I could see, and that was a free kick that probably should have been given to Essendon out on the wing. Brisbane player was definitely holding the ball. It ran down. Of course, Brisbane got a goal out of it, but probably ended up, didn't make much difference to the result. The hit-outs, clearances, Essendon did well there. They were plus 12 in the hit-outs, plus 5 in the clearances, all tied up. Centre clearances, 12 apiece. There we go. Of course, stoppage clearances, the Bombers by 5 there. Contested possessions, 134 apiece. They both had their, their contested possessions, all even uncontested. The Lions certainly did some of that damage. In one aspect, control of the ball, 56, 64 turnovers. There we go. Having a look at the marks, especially with those uncontested possessions, that gave the Lions 59 plus marks there. Marks inside 50, good to see both teams getting plenty of chances inside 50 with their marks 15, 13, both pretty good there and consistent. Both above average in the contested marks tonight. So that was good to see, even though some of the conditions during the match were a little bit wet. And of course, the tackle count, Lions lifted their game there, 56-53. And of course, 16-6. I think Essendon had 0 up until half time. Defensive tackles inside their forward 50. So that was good to see. The Bombers putting on a few there in the final half. But there are the stats. And as of course, have a look at the ladder. Brisbane Lions end up on top of the ladder at the start of round 12. Let's have a look, folks. Let's have a look who these teams play next week. And of course, I believe Brisbane's got a pretty tough run. Next week, Brisbane Lions, they're going to travel over to Adelaide. Of course, they play Adelaide at Adelaide Oval. That's going to be a tough game there for the Brisbane Lions. I think they play Adelaide, and then they play GWS Giants, and then I think they play Geelong. That's Brisbane's next 3 games. I'm not sure of the Bombers' next 3, but I do know who the Bombers are playing next. That's going to be a massive match. Next Sunday night, 7:20 p.m, Essendon will take on Carlton at the MCG. We go back to this ladder. That'll be a big game for both sides because Carlton desperately need a win next week. And, of course, Essendon will definitely want to win to stay in contention into the 8. So Essendon have Carlton next week. As I said, we've given you the rundown of the next 3 games for the Lions. Of course, they play Carlton next week, Essendon. And then the next game after that for the Essendon will play Geelong at the MCG. And, of course, the game after that, Essendon will play Fremantle Dockers over there at Optus Stadium in Perth. So that's the next 3 games for both teams there tonight. But what a fantastic game it was. To tell you what, after the first and opening quarter, folks, where the Brisbane Lions led by 32 points, Essendon winning the second and third quarter, and of course the Brisbane Lions winning that final term by 1 goal. I'll tell you what, it was interesting when Essendon got to finally hit the front right here. Essendon hit the front here at the 7.5 minute mark of that final term. We thought we have game on. It looked like Essendon might be able to do the unthinkable and topple the Brisbane Lions up there at the Gabba, the Brisbane's home game. But yet to be the Brisbane Lions. That's, well, I'll tell you what, as I said, folks, Brisbane looked like they were in just cruise mode this evening. That's one of the dangers, I think, you know, when you're the one of the top couple of sides in the competition and you're doing it cruisy, especially with a percentage like the Brisbane Lions. The Brisbane Lions percentage is not really good, 114%. That's not good. The only thing in Brisbane's favour is they did have that draw, which is like 2 points. So that is like the extra gain there. So there we go. But that being said, you never know, there could be another draw, but the percentage is really low there for Brisbane. I think it'd be a lot better effort if Brisbane put the pressure on like they did in the first quarter and continue that in the second, third and fourth quarter and try to put sides away. As I said, they were 32 point up at quarter time. We're expecting after quarter time this could blow out to even like 100 points, but it wasn't. Essendon fought back and Brisbane just took their foot off the pedal. They just taken it easy, and I think good sides, they need to continue and put sides away. I think that's a sign of a classy side. But cruise mode can be dangerous at times because you will let the opposition back in, and that nearly proved to be what happened tonight, especially with Essendon hitting the front in that final term. Brisbane Lions will, I think there'll be a bit of relief they actually got away with that game, although they did seem to be, in control of the game for most of it. You know, they did what they needed to do. They cruised at certain times, and then they lifted when they needed to. I suppose that's a sign of good teams, and good teams can do it. But you know, that being said, it can be a little bit dangerous at times as well. You might be able to let the opposition get into that game and take victory over that game, and that game could certainly cost you a home final come the end of the season. So you don't want to take it easy on sides. Not unless you're probably 10, 12 goals up going into the last quarter. You can probably take the foot off the pedal a little bit there, just go a little bit easier on the players. But after quarter time, you want to certainly make your mark, put the stamp of approval on the rest of the game, and build your percentage, etc. And of course, when you're got a good lead like that, you want to continue the way you play, get your players in fine form, and get everything working right for you as a team. But there we go. Hey, what a fantastic game it was. Thanks everyone for coming in, joining us, listening in for the coverage. Good on you, Eddie G, 3B, ET, and everyone else that popped on in. Thanks, Ryan, Avery Rogue One. Thanks for the super chat, brother. Good stuff. Really appreciate the super chat that you dropped down there earlier. And don't forget, folks, hey, we have got the tomorrow night, don't forget tomorrow night, we have got the game of the round. We have got the game in the round. That's Collingwood taking on Hawthorn, MCG, 7:40 p.m. tomorrow night, Melbourne time. That's going to be an absolute ring-a-ding-ding-ding game. That's where we're going to see the might of the full power of Collingwood come out to play and hopefully put Hawthorn to rest and regain top spot on the ladder. But that should be a fantastic game. Don't forget, coming up Saturday, we've got 3 games Saturday. Gold Coast Suns, they take on Fremantle. I think that's going to be, could be a percentage booster there for the Gold Coast Suns. They're playing at home at People First Stadium. I tell you what, if you want to play the Gold Coast, that's certainly not the place you want to play because they're super, super hard to beat at home. And of course, Saturday afternoon, we've got the GWS Giants taking on Richmond at Engie Stadium. That's going to be another great game. Of course, Giants back in form against the youngsters, Richmond. Saturday evening, we've got Sydney taking on Adelaide. That's going to be an interesting match at the SCG. And of course, we've got a couple of games on Sunday, 3:20 p.m. Sunday. Melbourne taking on St Kilda. That should be a fascinating game. And of course, the last game to round out, West Coast Eagles take on Geelong over there in Perth. I tell you what, that's going to be an interesting game as well, because West Coast haven't been going too bad. And of course, don't forget the 4 teams that have a bye this round: Carlton, North Melbourne, Port Adelaide, Western Bulldogs, have all got a bye this round, so you won't see them in action this weekend. But we've still got 6 fantastic games coming up your way, folks. So stay tuned, and you'll be able to listen on into the coverage with me with those games. But our next game for coverage, as I said, we will be live about 7:35 p.m. tomorrow evening as we head to the MCG. Collingwood taking on Hawthorn. Should be a fantastic game. Game of the round, folks. Game of the round. I expect a lot of people in here tuning in. I expect a big crowd out there at the MCG. Should be fantastic. But it was a good game here tonight. We enjoyed it. The crowd enjoyed it up there. Of course, a few Essendon fans travelling their way up there to the Gabba. I think they would have enjoyed the game. They got a little bit excited, of course. But the Brisbane fans, they were certainly excited this evening to see their hometown team get up and win the Brisbane Lions and take that top position on the AFL ladder for the 2025 season. Absolute ring-a-ding-ding game it was tonight. All right, folks, that's enough of me for this time around. I thank everyone for coming in. It was another fantastic game. All right, hey, I tell you what, you've got to love footy. You got to love footy, and we certainly do like the close games. A close game is a good game. All right, folks, hey, that's enough of me. Until tomorrow evening, ciao for now. We'll see you at the next game.